right, guys. So thank you so much. Hope everyone's having a beautiful Tuesday evening wherever you're at. Oh, a sub right off the start. Thank you, Spazdaz. Hakai indeed. Gonna let Zamasu get erased here, and then we're gonna continue.
Yeah, we need him.
We need him, dude. He gets us prize packs that have foil Shigeshas in them tonight.
Definitely.
Did
Spazdaz.
you win?
Thank you so much for that sub.
You'll have to talk about that later.
It's best of luck. It is what it is.
Scrub.
Playing the Mechas?
What me now? It's
Yeah, no.
My boy DBS Dex, thank you for that one viewer host. Appreciate all that viewership from you.
Yeah,
that really means a lot. Thank you.
You could have just gone without saying that.
I'm surprised that it's. I'm surprised that Twitch held it together off that huge transition of viewers. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.
So bad. Hey, by the way, you want to do me a favor? You want to tell me what your bit count is right now, please?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to bits. I'm too worried about keep track of actual subscribers and YouTube subscribers and all the other awesome stuff I have more than you of. So anyway, let's go. Let's continue. So we have a whole bunch.
I'll drop you.
we have a full house tonight, like we said earlier, guys. Sorry for the delay. Like I said, it was Matthew Combs' fault. Appreciate that. Sorry about that, guys. We have everyone together. Matt's like, what happened? We have a full house tonight. We're going to talk about the Mecha Frieza Errata, which should be a lot of fun. Thank you so much, DPS Dex, for that.
Does anyone know the Full House theme song?
I do know the Full House theme song.
There's a place. Somebody will find you. Sorry.
Thank you so much, Mark Hill. If you guys remember, guys, his banner is up right now.
Look at that sub message, by the way.
I didn't pay attention to that. If there's
you're a hoe.
Is that what it is? Thank you for keeping it PG-13. I appreciate that, my friend. Yeah, guys, definitely though, go check out dbs-decks.com where you can find a wide range of amazing decks. It's very good. And go check him out. Okay, guys. All right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to quickly introduce everyone here. We have a lot of people to go through, so I'm going to go through them. I'm going to let them kind of talk a little bit about themselves. I do want to apologize, first of all, for the fact that we were late. Again, that's 100% my fault. And second of all, I want to apologize for the terrible-looking overlay. It looks like a third grader did it. I apologize. That's actually Mark's fault for suggesting Discord. But that's okay. We got it working. So first, Cody, you're up, man. He's the one that's like right here. He's the only square that looks reasonable in any way. So Cody, if you want to say hello, kind of introduce yourself a little bit. Also, guys, don't forget to get your tea out. Got my tea going. So,
are we talking about like t-shirts?
Close.
No, he's talking about like actual like tea.
I'm Cody. I make DBS content that involves decks that kind of talks about the meta. Normally, I'm a devil's advocate when it comes to the game. I feel like.
Nice.
When the video that I made was the Buhan video, that was the one I would like to think I'm the one that started that hype train. Other than that, I help Mark make DBS decks.
Nice.
Subtly
in the shadows. I like it.
In the shadows.
People are saying define devil's advocate.
I'm against a lot of decision makings that people make in their decks.
Cool. I like it. I like that. Okay, next, right beside him is the beautiful, sexy Jordan Markle.
Oh, Lord.
How you doing, buddy? Want to talk a little bit about yourself?
Doing good, man. As Dusty said, I'm Jordan Markle. On the KTM. This guy, my last name. I'm on the KTM team. I used to do YouTube content. I don't really do much anymore, but hopefully get back to doing some.
Absolutely.
Other than that, just a player in the game, man.
Definitely doing a fantastic job at that as well. Very good player. And then to the bottom left of him in the Batman hat is the grandfather himself, Papa Mark.
Wow.
Also, by the way, congratulations. By the way, seriously, congratulations.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, I was gonna
6 kids now.
2. I was gonna bring.
Is it 2? Is it really 2? Wait a second. Is it really 2? I thought that was your first kid.
No.
Oh, you tricked me. Okay, who cares? You have another kid. Congratulations. Whatever. Continue. So
I literally said number 2 in our conversation. Anyway, no.
I don't think.
No. If anybody doesn't know who I am by now, I'd be surprised. So.
Sure.
Actually, not really. Actually, not
know
really.
who you are.
Okay.
Everybody knows who I am. I'm the creator of DBSDecks.com. For those of you who do
DBS-Decks.
DBS-Decks.
Yeah.
DBS-Decks.com.
Slow your roll.
I'm gonna get that website domain, man. I'm telling you.
I hope so, dude. You'll never be validated till you do.
Right. No, but yeah, I was gonna bring my kid on stream tonight, but she is actually passed out right now, so I'm gonna leave that as that because she needs her sleep. So does Mama. Mama needs her sleep too. So.
Okay, well, I got really uncomfortable really fast. So to the right is Matt Coombs. Matt,
Hi.
am I saying the right name right? Is it Coombs?
No, dude, you're saying it right.
Am I really?
100%.
Coombs.
Damn, I thought it was Coombs.
No, dude, everyone's thought it's Coombs. I've been called Coombs my entire life, so it's fine.
I just went off what Scott.
So it's actually Coombs.
It's actually Coombs.
Okay,
so,
nice.
But I've been called it my entire life incorrectly. So at this point, I just let you have it. Like
Right,
it's just
that's true.
If you want it, it's yours. Whatever. But I do content from time to time. I write stuff and I play the game.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm just in the
do a fantastic job at all of that stuff too. By the way, if anyone's watching this on YouTube, all of these beautiful people's YouTube content will be in the description, so you guys can go check them out. And I encourage you to please go to subscribe to all of them. But Danny, next is Danny's
trash.
It's because he's Canadian. You know what I mean? You guys support America first. So. We want next on the bottom.
Kind of racist.
It's not really racist. It might be
Nationalist.
nationalist. Right, my boy Matt. Yes!
Dusty, you white nationalist, get out of here.
Oh God, don't get that started. That's all I need. So like
huge decks. I have the best decks.
I got the best decks at DBS Decks. They're huge decks, lots of decks. I know some fantastic people who make some fantastic decks.
And there goes the podcast. Thanks guys for watching. Appreciate it. And that's when everybody stopped watching. Okay, so on the bottom left of the little square that I created that looks terrible is my boy Pat O'Neill. You guys might know him from the Deck Doctor that we did, which is still not up on YouTube because I suck and I'm super behind. But he is on the bottom left. The only person's name I can get right because he's from my homeland as well. So Pat, why don't you talk a little bit about yourself?
Some of you guys may remember me that played Naruto. I was the owner of The Perfect Curve, which is a competitive blog. I also had a weekly column on Bandai North America's website that appeared on Friday afternoons. And I am a former designer and tester for Bandai North America for the Naruto game. You may remember me from such mistakes as Sasuke's solo attitude and Mizukage.
Nope, don't remember.
So, yeah. And then more recently with this game,
never played it.
What words are these?
With this game, you may remember more recently is the Zamafu deck that's been, making circulation around the country at this point. So.
Nah, dude, I did it first.
Get out of here, dude.
The thing I like the most about all my guests so far, they've all been very humble. They've all been very, you might know me from my deck that's sweeping the nation, by the way. Thanks, Pat.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
Or like the masterful website owner.
Right.
We're also
right, now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go find a hat because I'm feeling out-hatted right now.
I know, right?
What? Two people have? Oh wait, no. Actually, everybody has one but me and you.
Man.
I don't wear hats. Don't do hats, buddy.
Dusty. You will put
my ears are too big for a hat. If I put a hat on, my ears just immediately, like you can tell, they're huge.
I didn't ask for your excuses, Dumbo. I said go get a damn hat.
I'm not. Thanks again for keeping it PG-13. Appreciate that, Mark. Always doing great for me. All right, and the final amazing guest. Speaking of humble, probably the most humble player in rounds, and the Canadian assassin.
That's
Mr. Mr. Danny. Yeah, isn't that like Crispin Wall? Anyway,
yeah.
Is that right? A little bit of wrestling knowledge you guys didn't know I knew. How about that? A little bit of wrestling knowledge.
A little dark, too.
Yeah, that's true, considering the past. You didn't have to bring that up. That was my childhood. Anyway, so Danny, go ahead and talk a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Danny Hype. I started off with YouTube. That's where I met, I met Dusty playing him on Octagon, and then we started talking about our YouTube channels. But yeah, that's where I started off. We didn't get too much stuff in Canada, so I think I was more known for being like the one Canadian to drive down to the States to kind of take all of your trophies and bring them back to Canada. And I think one of my early pictures, I have like all these after my like little tour of the States, like Buffalo, Detroit, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. I had like a picture of just all my trophies, and I think that's when I started to pick up a lot of followers.
Absolutely, it was like you were definitely the best at taking down 5-man local events for sure.
I'm undefeated in the local scene when it comes to the States.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, fantastic player. Also plays with other great players in Canada, like Zuhair and Anthony as well. Mecca, right? And just a lot of fantastic players who do really well. We can't read that, man. Hashtag what? Oh, hashtag humble. Nice. All right, so guys, what we're going to do today is our main focus is going to be on Mecha Frieza, the Mecha Frieza Errata, where if you guys don't know about that, where do you guys get these things? Where do you guys... I mean, I guess the one was a piece of paper, but still pretty rich for my blood. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about the Mecha Frieza Errata, which if you guys aren't aware of that, that's okay. We're going to talk a little bit about what they changed with Mecha Frieza, what we think about it, how we think if it's going to change the format at all, and then going a little bit further and talking about maybe decks that we can see, that might be coming up and how the meta is going to evolve. Now remember that this Errata doesn't take an effect until May 1st, so San Jose will still be the current Mecha, meta, if you will, that we are having now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, talk a little bit about the Errata, but I'm going to let Pats talk a little bit about that. Pats being the resident expert here with game design. I'm going to let him talk a little bit about it. Then we're just going to talk about our opinions a little bit about it, kind of have a free discussion. Take your guys' questions too. So if you guys have any questions at all, let me know at KitchenTableMeta in the chat, and we'll get your questions answered as soon as possible. All right, guys. So Pat, take it away, my friends. Talk a little bit about this this Errata.
Wow, man, put me on the spot. But usually, like in design, I don't know, like if I 100% agree with the Errata. It's a good Errata. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to shoot you down, Matt.
That's a questionable thing to say.
So one of the things is like usually when you're trying to Errata something, you're either trying to like fix something, and it's like either you're going to do it lightly or you could do it overhand, which is a sledgehammer nerf, which is what they didn't really do with this one. Honestly, they kind of did like a change that would make it a little bit different. Like the play style isn't fundamentally, I feel like, different. Like it's one of the ways you could play it, but like now you're kind of forced into that, which is both good and bad for the game. I don't know. Like overall though, I do like it just because like I feel like it opens up the creativity once again in the game. So I don't know. Like any change was a welcome change because I was just tired of like dying on turn 2 if I wasn't playing.
Sure. Yeah. So fantastic job of not explaining the Errata at all. Thank you, Pat. So the Errata guys.
I didn't know where you wanted me to go with that.
just literally describe it at all in any way.
Pat, can you please explain the Errata? I don't know if I agree with it.
Okay, do you want me to just do it once over? I mean,
we can try again. If you want to give you a second chance, we could try again.
Okay,
Circle does not get the square.
Yeah, Circle's like, all right, by all means, it's your Errata.
Throw them back all 6, redraw, do it. All right.
All right, go ahead, take it, Matt. You want it, Sean? It's all yours, bro.
No, dude, it's your. I'm kidding. I'll just go ahead and I'll go ahead and talk about it. So the Errata they made was at the front side of Frieza. They changed it to during your opponent's turn only, and at the end of it, they tacked on if you use this effect to take a life to hand, negate this skill for the duration of the turn. And then on the Awaken side, it's still during your opponent's turn, but there's no limit to it. So that's the Errata. That's what they decided to go with.
Yeah, now, real quick, and this is a question for you guys, and I thought was questionable about just, I mean, spoiler alert, I think it's a stupid Errata, but real quick, why did they put this skill's negated for the rest of the turn? Why didn't they just make it once per turn skill?
It's because, like, how the game is worded, you can't have, like, that permanent,
that was actually
loading.
If I could. So Aaron, the Facebook admin, actually asked me, like, how it would be worded, and he originally was, like, suggesting this once per turn idea. And I was like, it doesn't work that way, so you have to word it this way, because like that's the only way. Because what would end up happening if you had it worded as once per turn, it's the first extra card you play, like that's it. Because like that's the precedent that's been set with like other cards like Champa and whatnot. So you're just kind of so
it's a wording issue, is what you guys.
Yeah, it's basically it's a wording issue. I told Aaron like if they're going to do anything, like this is kind of how it's got to be. I think because otherwise. It just kind of is like this really awkward thing where it's like the first extra card you play, take it or leave it. So if you wanted to have some flexibility at all in terms of how you could play, like that's how you kind of have to word the card.
Right.
Honestly, I'm gonna side with Cody on this one. Me and Cody have talked back and forth this on my streams every now and then. But the best option, I mean. I guess the Errata's fine. I'll go with the Errata. I'm okay with it being on your opponent's turn. I've made that suggestion once or twice, but I also suggest only yellow cards could be used as well. But I do think the better solution would just be to get on the train and start just saying can't use anymore. It's gone, banned, done with. Because if they're going to take the approach of a ratting card like this, I think it's going to be kind of a pain in the butt later on. for new players where you're gonna have to sit here and explain this crap over and over and over to new players. Like, no, the card does this. Well, it says this. Yeah, well, here's the Oracle text. Let me explain it to you this way. So, I mean, I'm fine with the errata. I think it's gonna balance out the meta nicely, to an extent at least. I mean, it doesn't. It's not gonna take Mecha Frieza away, but they cut his nuts off. So I mean, they made him. They neutered it.
They didn't cut his nuts off. They like scraped his knee, and he was like, "Oh, that sucks." Anyway, I'm still the best leader. Guess what?
No, he's neutered pretty hardcore. I mean, like, you can only do the first.
So here's what makes me mad about the Reddit. I'm also going to say this. Okay, so when people say they fixed the leader, okay, correct. Okay, they made it so he can't awaken turn 1 with 15 cards in hand. Sure, congratulations. You fixed that issue with the leader. Okay, that was like a no-brainer. Like I said this in the group chat before, you know, I could set my 8-year-old nephew down who's never played a card game before and been like, okay, you play Starter Goku. Okay, on your turn 1, you played an energy. That's cute. I awakened and drawed 15 cards. Do you think this is fair? And he'd be like, no, I don't. Okay, that doesn't mean that fixing that means that now it's fine. Now you can play whatever you want. The meta is fixed. It's absolutely not. And what we're going to get into talking about, and I want to talk with Danny about this. This is something that's very interesting that me and Danny talked a lot about. Was that after the North Carolina regional, we all thought Mecca was like not that good. We thought Soul Striker Goku beat Mecca, and I think what we figured out was that all the good players were just playing Soul Striker Goku. And in North Carolina, when Bearded started playing Mecca, I think it was painfully obvious that Mecca was actually just better than Soul Striker Goku. And I think that is still there. That same mentality of just
May I chime in?
Sure, you don't mind? Absolutely.
So at the end of set 2, the best deck absolutely was Mecca. However, it was because it didn't have the cards that are currently in the pool, it could brick. And people don't want to play 9 or 10 rounds of Swiss with a deck that has a chance of bricking. So Soul Striker is clearly the number 2 deck, but it literally will draw the same hand throughout the entire tournament.
The ceiling's lower, but the floor is higher. The floor is higher.
Correct.
Sure.
And
I think it's fair.
In a format where you're literally playing like 9, 10 rounds of Swiss, you want to minimize variance because it's like, okay, if I can take this deck that basically will never brick and basically guarantee with my play skill I'm going to make it to day 2, then I'll just try and deal with it at that time if I come up against the 1 or 2 mechas that didn't brick in the top.
Sure, but I think it's also fair to remember, Pat, is that like Soul Striker auto. I mean, I honestly will say auto loss to any kind of cell chain, right? Blue decks just can't beat cell chain. It can't. They have no way to beat it. But like Mecca does, right? Mecca has the answer in Cold.
And that's why reading the format's really important before going to a major, because literally Soul Striker doesn't brick. So if the format's all mechas, you can just take Soul Striker and you might be able to day 2 because you won't brick and beat players that do brick.
Or you could just take Mecca and probably top anyway, right? Because you're a better player.
Yeah, but then you got to play against people who can play the mirror match better than you probably.
I want to throw my 2 cents in.
Go right ahead, Cody.
So Mecca, okay, so let's start with the beginning when Ginyu was cool in set 2, and then Mecca came out. Then that deck, died immediately. So when Mecca came out, obviously the card had infinite amount of issues where it was just like, oh, okay, you can't print a 1-cost extra card anymore because you're just going to increase the ceiling. And then they go and print Planet Vegeta, and then that's when Mecha Frieza was just like, oh yeah, this deck's busted. But it laid low. Mecha Frieza, like, when it first came out, was really good. I think, I forgot, was it Richmond was the first Mecha Frieza one?
Oh, yeah. Orlando was the
Orlando. Mm-hmm. And then that was it 2, or was Mecha Frieza versus Red Green Androids, I think, was the finals?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Mecha Frieza won that one. And then the second regional, Mecha Frieza was representative.
Is Richmond, and it was just non-existent. Everybody played Soul Striker. And that's kind of when it started.
The next one was Vegas. The next one was Vegas.
Oh, you're right. It was Vegas. Right.
Was it Soul Striker or was it Vegeta? Because Vegeta had that. Vegeta
won Vegas.
Vegeta won Vegas. Marcel won Vegas.
Yes. Yeah. But that's to be expected, because I mean Jordan probably remembers this from Naruto. Just in general, the difference between West Coast and East Coast players. West Coast players play aggressive. They always play aggro. They always play like fast things. So like going to a West Coast event, I don't think I would ever take a slow deck, because literally that's just the play style of the West Coast players. They always play fast.
Even I played aggro on the West Coast. It's just a thing.
Yeah, it's just a thing. You have to do it. It's just even messing with you. And so,
just do it, man.
And that's what happened. Like Soul Striker did well there because it was kind of like a good pick to play against a field of like that many aggressive players.
Yeah, I would say Soul Striker is the most defensive deck, right? Like it has all the tools to be defensive with like Gohan combos, but it's also can 1-for-1 you. It's just like Matt said, it's Jund essentially. It has
true mid range.
Soul Striker played like 12 removal spells. It was ridiculous. It was just a deck full of Necrotals.
So much spot removal.
But so like Vegeta was a good option against people who were playing Mecha Frieza because a lot of people were playing Encouraging Presence Monica. They were just trying to flip themselves really quickly, and they were getting punished by it with like Furthering Destruction Champa by taking all their hand advantage that they had and having to dump to not die. So that was like kind of like the not terrible answer. And then Soul Striker Goku was good against aggro because it didn't have to take its own life. It just kind of like the aggro decks had to deal all 8 damage. And if they didn't do all 8 damage, then they're just going to sit on Resulted Training and lose the game from that.
Sure.
So you had like this weird triangle that happened, but then Mecha Frieza players obviously just like adapted, and then look what happened.
Because it's a deck that has all the tools. That's the problem with Mecca. And
like,
I'll let somebody else talk. I'm not gonna. I'll get into it.
I was gonna say I really feel like it's just Soul Striker. People think it was the best deck last format. It's like I said, people just misattribute things and don't read the format correctly. I feel like in this community.
I agree. I agree. I mean, I really want Danny to talk about this too
because literally just West Coast was aggro, and like Soul Striker's great against that. So they see Soul Striker did good, and it's like, well, that's clearly the best deck. No, it's not the best deck. It was just the best deck for that tournament.
Yeah.
So then we go back to East Coast where control like is everything over here, at least the Northeast, and it's just like okay, now Soul Striker, it comes up against these other decks, and that's why it's just not the best deck. It wasn't last round.
Yeah. Then so I forgot what I was gonna say.
Okay. You did better than Pat did when he described the what.
But basically, what happened after Mecha Frieza was like clearly a better deck because of its utility, and the fact somebody mentioned Colors of the Rainbow. Mecha Frieza can play Colors of the Rainbow and just not even care. It just picks all the best 1-drop extra cards and just throws them in there. And if it wants to play 2-drop ones, then it just splashes like the other best card just to play his mana for it. But then, like, when Set 3 came out, that's when, the problem cards happened. They printed Planet Vegeta, which was, the worst idea on the face of the earth when you have a leader like Mecha Frieza that you printed. Also, the sheer fact that they made EX Evolve as well was another thing that just, like, completely sped up the format. So, like, Set 1, like, if you guys ever played Set 1...
We knew that was happening. At least I knew that was happening. Because, like, that's just because how design cycles work. Like, you're literally a set and a half ahead, so, like... If the format looks slow at the end of Set 1, they're like, "Oh, game's too slow. Got to speed it up." Which is like, so the stuff they made in like early Set 2, they thought the format was slow, so they sped it up, and now it's like, well, by the end of Set 2, it's like crazy fast. So I was like, "Oh no, dude, Set 3. That means Set 3 is gonna be just like ridiculous." So I expect Set 4 to be incredibly defensive.
So
if Set 4 is going to be defensive, that'll be goddamn.
Yeah, I was going to say, Pat. Yeah, as I was going to say, you can speed a game up like immensely, and it's easy to do so. But you did game design. How hard is it to slow a game down?
Very hard to slow down because, like in Naruto, we debated with having to make rule changes because that's like one of the only things we could think of. And that's why this is a topic for another time. Like I'm a big advocate of block formats because that is by far the simplest way to control like the entire like card pool because like by having
it's also a good way to bring new players in too.
Yeah, it keeps like the power level of the game in check. Like by having a block format, you basically have a defined like point of time. Like this is it. Like this 18 months these cards are released, so they can be like, oh okay, when we're designing for something that's going to be the set after this 18th month window or however long. We can start printing like powerful cards or cards that are like older cards if we want to keep them in the format. Like, so you can't have like, card A and B in the same pool because that creates a cancerous interaction like Mecca and Planet Vegeta. So you could be like, okay, well, we know Mecca is going to be rotating, so it's safe to design a card like this, like Planet Vegeta, because Mecca is going to rotate out as this card enters the pool. And that's how you can ensure balance.
Yes.
Spoiler alert! They already created blocks.
Oh yeah, but it's not the
I don't know if they're I don't know if they're going to be enforced.
I will tell you guys. Me personally, they are. Like that's why they're doing it, right? Like,
I think
they don't. They wouldn't just make blocks for. What sold it to me was when they put the block icon on the cards. Why would those be there? You know what I mean? Like obviously those are there for you know.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. Also, too, I think they did it as a contingency plan, doing exactly what Pat was talking about. You know, you realize, oh shoot, you know, we screwed up early on. Oh well, contingency plan. Let's just rotate them out, and then get in a whole new set there, and then try not to make the same mistakes you did originally.
Yeah.
It's that's the one thing that Force of Will did right as a game, I feel like, honestly. It's the one thing. They announced from the get-go, this game has a block format, so if we mess up, it will
eventually,
be fixed.
yeah.
And by the way, we will. By the way, we're going to mess up.
Yeah, by the way, we're going to kill our game.
Right.
So, yeah, like after set 3 came out, Mecha Frieza, obviously, problem. But the thing that I thought was interesting is that the take that they're taking with fixing their game is erratas like crazy. They're treating it like it's an online card game, and they're not really doing anything to band-aid the erratas. Like, as I said, like, as Mark said, when you errata a card, it makes it really hard for new players, and they need to find a way to remedy that, especially now that you chose a leader to errata next.
It'd be great if they just put the new copy in the draft box.
Well, what I suggest is that, which I think is probably one of the best ways to go about doing it, is just send like common reprints, like a playset of common reprints to like a distributor to give to stores to give to players of just like every card that they had to change, and just like it doesn't have to be foily as fuck. It just it's
okay. It's fine. It happens.
It doesn't need to be foil. It just needs to be the correct text, and you could just give that to players. That would be like probably the easiest way to do it, but it'll kill the card. But I mean, you messed up on the card originally, so
yeah. Or you could just ban it, which is the clean solution.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, but that's not what they decided, though.
Yeah, I know, but here's the thing.
I agree. I think it should have been banned.
Oh, it definitely should have been banned.
Like, I don't know how experienced their design team is or what their philosophies are, but like, you know, that's just one of those things. I think they're gonna have to learn. Like, they're learning a lot of things now about the game,
right?
Their own game.
And I agree with Pat. I think that's what they're doing, is they're learning, right? I know for a fact this game is way more successful than they expect it to be.
Oh yeah, no, it was obvious from like even when I talked to them in Hartford that it was like they didn't expect it to get this big. They just made something for fun, and I got the impression that balance was secondary from talking to them, because like they didn't really grasp how strong Cell Chain was. They were unaware that like they actually thought Mecca was once per turn, but it wasn't. So
they were just making cool cards, dude.
Yeah, that's fine.
They were like, dude, these cards are sick.
Like,
who wouldn't want to play these?
They put a bunch of stoned nerds in a room together, and we're like, dude, let's see what we can get, man.
Like Bandai traditionally doesn't have like long-lasting card games. Like their previous card game before Super was like Power Rangers, was lasted like 2 sets.
I think Power Rangers is.
You hush your mouth, dude. That's my game.
Yeah, first of all, me and Matt play Power Rangers on the rig. First,
100%. I'm traveling up this weekend.
We're going to Power Rangers Worlds, by the way.
Naruto was really the only like long-lasting Bandai game that they had.
Lasted for what, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah,
like
than that,
eight plus, like 8.
I don't know how long the game. I never played it.
7, 8 years.
28 sets at like 3 to 4 a year, dude.
Jesus.
Quite a long time. And you have to understand that the Bandai JP, they made the game for the first like 11 sets. Bandai NA made it for like the next 17 to 18 sets. So it's like Bandai JP hasn't like really had to make a long-lasting card game like I think ever.
Basically, they just get the game going and then sell the licensing off to whoever wants to buy it.
Not exactly, but like you get the point. Like every Bandai JP game has died within like 3 or 4 sets usually. Except for Naruto. Naruto was like the anomaly. And even then, like they decided to end it and go a different way in JP, so NA had to form its own division to pick up the slack, because they were like, oh, this game went 11 sets? What do we do? All right, let's just kill it and make a new game, call it Shippuden, and move on. And like that was
let's drift a little bit back towards the Mecha errata here.
Good call.
So post errata.
Right, and I want to talk a little bit to Danny here. Danny, let's talk a little bit about your experience at the North Carolina regional event playing against Mecca. Right, I mean, obviously that was you played Mecca there, right?
Yeah, I played Mecca there, and going into that, I was off of Mecca. I was on the Soul Striker train because I actually believed Soul Striker could beat Mecca. Because all my testing when I was playing against the Mecca players in my locals, I was beating them with Soul Striker, and then one of my friends who was like a Mecca main since it started. I started playing him, and he just like dumpstered me like time after time, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't beat him for some reason. And then when I started playing Mecha against Soul Strikers, I started realizing, wow, Soul Striker does not beat this at all. Like, no matter how bad I draw, I'll always beat the Soul Striker. And so then after that, I was kind of convinced. But then knowing that I didn't think there would be a lot of Soul Strikers for whatever reason, I just thought, like, even though they won the last two, I just felt like it would. I didn't want to play. Well, one, I didn't want to play if there was a lot of Soul Strikers. I didn't want to play a lot of Soul Striker mirror matches because those games go forever, and it would go to time a lot. And then seeing, I think Vegeta was the problem why Mecha kind of went away, or why people weren't playing Mecha, not because they were afraid of Soul Striker, but because Vegeta could aggro you out, and you have all these extra cards that you can't actually defend yourself.
Sure.
So Vegeta is what I was afraid of, but them not winning the last two regionals, I felt like I wouldn't see them as much. So then I was more comfortable playing Mecha Frieza, and then obviously like the night before I was on Soul Striker, and the night before I decided, you know, screw it, I'm just going to play Mecha Frieza, even though I didn't have a lot of experience with it, but I just knew it was the best deck, and it basically it got me through the whole tournament. And my only two losses were to the mirror matches, and I was against like bearded collectibles. And going into this, like, well, after I saw them and they were all playing Mecha, I knew if I played them, it'd be really hard, because one, I think his name was George. He's the one who won Orlando with Mecha. I'm sure he's been playing Mecha since the beginning, and
yeah,
I even talked to him, and he told me that Mecha was like, in his opinion, he was surprised that Mecha wasn't been winning. And then if you look at the past tournaments, Bearded wasn't actually at a lot of them. Like, they had one or two people there, but sure, this one they were heavily represented. And at one point, I was playing at the top table, and I think there was like 6 of them all sitting around me, all playing Mecha, and I was like, yeah, they know what's up. And then that's why PPG, I think PPG was still stuck on the Soul Striker, or I think Peter was playing like Goku Black, whatever. So that's why they weren't doing so well, because Bearded showed up, and they're all really good players with the best deck. So obviously they're going to be up there. So yeah, for like I think Mecha should have won. Actually, when in Vegas, when Vegeta beat Golden Frieza, and like that's where people kind of got off Mecha. But if people stayed on Mecha, like if Bearded showed up, I don't think Soul Striker would have won those two regionals in a row.
I don't either. And I'll tell you, like I said, commentating, the games that I have and playing as many games as I play throughout the week, the reason why I think Mecha Frieza is such a good deck, and I'm going to let Jordan kind of take this a little bit and talk a little bit about it, and him talk about this a little bit, is because Mecha has the ability to play out of threats. At North Carolina, it was Kel. Kel was their go-to threat, right? And they would play Kel out, they would attack with Kel, be 20k critical, they would draw a card off of it usually, and then they would pass the turn to you. And then, Soul Striker would be like, well, I'm going to play out, Gohan and kill it. And they're like, nah, cool, but for free. It doesn't do that. Now your turn's over. That's all you can do for your turn. And now on my turn, I'm going to kill your threat that you just played and attack with Kel and draw a card again. And now I'm going to play a second Kel out. And now I have 2 Kels. Now I'm hitting you with 2 Kels. Your go. And it's like, okay, crap, this sucks. I'm going to play out something and try to kill it again. And it's like, cute. I have the second Cold Bloodlust. Okay, you can't win. Or I don't have the second Cold Bloodlust. And worst case, we're even. Right? And so that's what the deck is, in my opinion, has traditionally been its strength and why it's been so good, because it has all the answers. It has answers to everything while still being able to put a pressure on the opponent. And I think with this errata, nothing has changed. It still has that potential, and it's still going to be very good. But Jordan, talk a little bit about what I just talked about. Do you think that's the strength of Mecha? You think that's why Mecha is doing real well? Like, what do you think when you sit down across from the old school Mecha? What is the scariest thing about that deck?
I mean, yeah, it can gain like a lot of tempo from the early Cold Bloodlust. I think it needed back then. Like, I'm just gonna talk about like Soul Striker a little bit too, because like I played Soul Striker, and like when I played Mecha, like I felt like it was favored Soul Striker a lot. Me and Danny did play best of 3 at the KTM house the night before North Carolina, and he got me 2-1. And it really relies on early Cold Bloodlust. Like, if you don't have that early Cold Bloodlust, like the game he misses early Cold Bloodlust, it spirals out of control, because Soul Striker has that untapped 2 ability where it can play 2 threats later in the game.
Sure.
So a lot of times it can't keep up while they're losing life playing their extra cards. But if they do hit their Cold Bloodlust and they hit their KO, like it's really tough to win, because you're just so far behind on board. Which is kind of why I switched to Golden Frieza, because it did similar things, but it also could play Cold Bloodlust. But I think that just you have to apply a lot of pressure to Mecha Frieza in that matchup. Mecha Frieza was just really good.
Yeah, okay, so I completely agree. And so I think moving into set 3, the problem with Mecha Frieza was that it turned into the best leader for every situation, right? I think everybody here can agree with that. It was the best aggro deck, it was the best control deck, it was the best mid-range deck, it was just the best deck, right? And that was because of the broken stuff it could do with, like, Vegeta, or Planet Vegeta and all this other stuff, right? And so they've taken that away with the errata, right? It's just once per turn. I'm sorry, once on your opponent's turn. Now, the traditional counter to Mecha Frieza has always been Vegeta, right? Vegeta's always been that guy who comes down and says, you know what, you're going to hurt yourself at the beginning of the game. Guess what? I got you. I'm going to take you out. I'm going to help you continue to, you know, take your life and beat you. Now, the problem with set 3, in my opinion, and everyone's calling about how it's like the most fast and the most aggressive format, I disagree. I think set 3 is actually the slowest format we've ever been to, especially with this change, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But with Mecha Apes now, right, I don't understand how you're going to be able to put any pressure on Mecha. Matt, I know this change, this errata, was the errata that you were an advocate about. This is the one that you really wanted to be changed. You suggested this like 4 weeks ago on the Facebook group. So I want you to talk a little bit about this errata and why you think it's a good change.
So the play patterns that we all talk about and the reasons why the card was so busted, and even if we speak back to set 2, was everyone keeps telling me about it's the cold bloodlust, right? It's the cold bloodlusting your first removal spell. No, the thing that happened was actually 2 turns ago where it Monaka'd, objection, and then played its Kale on turn 2. Like, that's the problem. That's the thing that caused issues, was because it was playing its removal spells before you were. Because it had the ability to. Because it could take life to hand. It could gain card advantage that way. It could supplement that. So that's why Soul Striker would lose that matchup. Anytime I had a Mecha Frieza open an objection on me and I was Soul Striker, I lost that game. Because they were just gonna be ahead. Like, no matter what you do, they're ahead.
And that's why Soul Strikers that didn't play objection, I felt was wrong, because you needed to play objection.
You'd always fall behind if you didn't have it. And so going into wanting to change the leader, the problem with once per turn is if I'm just make it once per turn, I still get to objection on turn 1, and I still get to bloodlust on your turn for free. I don't have to make a choice. There's no choice involved, right? It's just I play the best option, which is objection on 1. On turn 2, guess what? I'm playing March of the Great Apes. I'm still playing 2 apes. It's your turn. I can defend myself. That's not fixing the card. That's the card is still a problem that way.
But you can still do the same thing now.
No. If I want to do it now, I have to play a card just like you do.
Okay.
Play a 1-drop and then pass.
Oh,
and then you have to do something for me to respond to before I can actually take a life to hand.
Yeah, but if you don't do nothing, if you choose to play around that, then you're just letting me go into late game unopposed. So what's wrong with
that
is that nothing changes. I still get 2 apes out with Bolas back up, and I'm like, cool, get ready.
No, because I have to play March on turn 3 to turn 4 because I can't just objection on my turn.
Yeah, but if I play March on turn 3, Matt, why does that put me at a disadvantage?
Because we can both play the same game. You can also March on turn 3 if you objection.
Correct.
Right, but the difference
we're playing the same exact game.
But I have free Bolas to back me up. I have free Crusher Balls to back me up.
Bloodlust doesn't matter against. Oh wait, hold on. If we're just talking about the fact that it has access to free Bloodlust, and you think that's a problem,
I do. I absolutely think it's a problem. I 100%.
That's not a problem at all.
Okay.
I don't think it's a problem
explain yourself. Why do you think it's not a problem?
Because the same method that goes into beating Mecha from set 2 to now is still the same. You have to play a wide variety and diversity of threats in multiple per turn. That doesn't change. And that's fine, because there's tons of ways to do that now. Whether if it's Vegeta with Unyielding and Sensu Bean, whether if it's Overrealm, whether if it's Soul Striker untapping, well, if it's Heightened, being able to tap out on the turn and then untap 3. You have all these options that can now do that strategy against Mecha. And now, Mecha is 100% reliant on playing Bloodlust, playing Crusher Ball, playing Sensu Bean, playing Coercion, playing Nimbus to awaken. Plus, it also has to pack offensive cards to awaken. Like the list I've been writing, I have to pack no openings.
Yeah. Like you get... Because you can't basically, if I play something that's just like static threats, like things that are just like, I don't know, like the combo into play Gohan or like things like that, or just like even like
or you know just the veggie package that everyone's already playing.
The veggie package is the only one I think that didn't get hit.
Okay, but like that's
this
and it's the best mecha variant. It's the best.
But
mecha
it's
variant.
but it's still I still have to pay
I think it is
2
the best.
green. On turn 1 and turn 2, I still have to charge 2 green, and I'm not gaining additional life through Monaka, Planet Vegeta. I'm not tutoring, and if I want to play a planet, I have to charge a yellow. That means I'm not playing Kaba on turn 2. You're not thinking about how much.
Oh, I am thinking. I am absolutely thinking about it. I think you're not thinking about how nothing. It literally doesn't change it because like the most aggressive deck. Because the most aggressive decks, the most aggressive decks in the format currently are Mecha decks, right? That's Mecha Veggies. Let me finish talking, and then you can speak. So it's Mecha Veggies, it's Mecha Veggies, and GT, right? Those are the 2 most aggressive decks. And the problem with those decks is when you play against those decks,
I don't agree with those 2.
Wrong.
No.
Okay. What is your guys'
Wrong.
I think it's Veggies and Apes.
Oh, okay.
I think Apes is on top.
If you don't think it's it's definitely Veggies, we can definitely agree on it, but it's definitely also Apes because the thing is, Apes can kill you on turn 1. How do I know? Because literally I did it to my top 4 opponent in states. Like you can kill somebody on turn 1 with Apes, and the thing is there's no risk because if you fail to kill someone on turn 1 with Mecha GT, you die. If you fail to kill somebody with Apes, cool. I'll untap 4 Apes past turn.
Okay, so I'd say we're on the agreeance then that the most aggressive decks in the format are, whether it be Veggies or Apes or GT or whatever you want to call it, is Mecha decks, right?
Yeah, well, hold on, Dusty. Let me just comment on that really quick.
Sure. Absolutely.
52% of the meta currently, as it is with the updated extravaganza stuff put in the other day, 52% of the meta stands with Frieza decks. So yeah, I'm gonna say it's probably the most aggressive deck. Now, variants of that deck, there are a bunch of variants. You have the Apes. You have like 4 or 5 colored Apes. You have Mecha GT. You have and Mecha Veggies. Out of all of them, Mecha Apes and Mecha Veggies stand at a pretty decent tie. So I wouldn't really say
I think that's before this change. Now that this change, Veggies is 100% the best one.
Okay, I'm actually talking before the change. We'll say the most aggressive decks are Mecha decks, right? And I think this maybe is what people are maybe confusing a little bit. So like Pan decks are very, very aggressive. Mass Saiyan decks, very aggressive, right? But those decks can kill you turn 1. They can't kill you turn 2. They just can't. Okay, it's not possible. They have to play a fair game, right? I think everybody can agree with that. And so Mecha's biggest weakness is decks that can kill you turn 1 and turn 2. So what I'm trying to say, Mecha's biggest weakness was Mecha. And what this change has done is hurt Mecha aggressive decks, but has done nothing to hurt Mecha mid-range and late-game decks. And so because of that, you've taken... Okay, that's fine, and we'll get to your disagreement in a second. And so what happened is this change has taken all the good aggressive decks, that can kill you and really pressure Mecha out of the format, and has instead replaced them with like just Mecha decks again. Like Mecha was his own worst enemy, and they didn't like strengthen anything else. Obviously, they're not going to do that. It's a physical card game. But like you've taken all the aggression out of the format, and so now it's just a slow format that is going to have Apes. I mean, me and Pat, we've talked about this multiple times, right, Pat? Where like now it's just going to be Apes, right? You're going to have 8 barrier guys, and then you're going to move into that, and from that into Fu beating those cards. And we're just going to go down the same cycle. I mean, like you can't aggressively kill Mecha anymore, so now Mecha's going to be able to do their thing. It doesn't make any sense to me when people are saying like, oh, you can't awaken on turn 2. It's like Mecha Veggies is pretty. I think Mecha Veggies can pretty closely awaken on turn 2, maybe turn 3 at the worst, and they still have access to Shigesh. Like, what's changed? Nothing, except they can't be broken and awaken on the first turn.
This Mecha version is just a better set 2 Mecha version. That'll still, I think, will still just stomp everything.
I agree 100%.
So basically, Dusty, if I've heard everything in the background here, your argument is that the errata did absolutely jack.
Right. It's obviously fixed the card so it doesn't have these ridiculous shenanigans, which I think everybody's in agreement here that needed to happen, right? We don't need to be waking on turn 1 with 15 cards in hand. Got it. And it's also, helped future design a little bit, right? Because you can't, do a bunch of, you can print actual 1-cost cards, not worry about people blowing up. It doesn't make Monaka like the best card in the game out of nowhere for some reason. But it hasn't changed Mecha. Like, Mecha Veggies is still probably the best deck in the format, and will continue to do unfair things. We'll continue to play Kel's out on turn 2 probably, or turn 3 at the latest. You know, multiple Kells, by the way. And it's like, I don't understand, like, how everyone's like, oh, I can play whatever I want now. I'm going to build a Kid Goku deck. It's like, well, then you're going to get crushed by Mecha Veggies because that deck's bad. Like, I don't understand. And, like, that's not what was supposed to happen. Me and Pat talked about this literally days ago. If you hit Mecha, the only way you're going to fix the Mecha problem is you hit Shigesh as well. Or you make it so Mecha can't play free Cold Bloodlust. Whether you make it so it doesn't reduce it to the specified cost, or you make Mecha not a Frieza's army leader anymore, and then that makes Mecha right. Oh, sure. Obviously, I think we're all in agreement. They should have banned it.
Best solution.
Right. I absolutely agree. But they didn't. That's one of
the main reasons why they should have banned it, though, is because it was clean. The fact that we're having this proves the point. It's not clean. Right. Because if regardless of whatever we talk about tonight, if Mecha doesn't turn out to be a thing, like, fine, mission accomplished. But if what Dusty is saying, if you actually think that, and like that ends up being true, that it is still the best deck, like you believe it is, they didn't do their job, and then they look really, 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 really terrible, because they literally just were like, oh yeah, you know what? That's this will probably be a change, and it just proves that you didn't know what you were doing, because you were so afraid to lose players for banning the card. Like, you're going to probably end up losing more players in the long run because you prove that you can't fix the game. You can't balance a game.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I completely agree. Like I said, I mean, in my mind, and maybe I'm wrong. You know what I mean? It's very, very possible. It wouldn't be the first time I'm wrong, obviously. But to me, it just literally changes nothing. Like, Mecha's still the best leader in the game. And the problem that makes me bad with Mecha, and I'm going to leave this out here and let you guys talk about it, and then I'm done with my point, is that every other leader that you play, you have something that you're scared about. Right? I think Matt can agree with this. Pat can agree with this. If I play SS3, I'm terrified of, like, Cell Chain. I'm like, please don't Cell Chain me, bro. This sucks. Or I'm scared of, something else. Mecha is just like, I have Cold Bloodlust for free. It doesn't matter. Right? I can beat that. Whatever it is, I can beat it. And I think that's the problem with Mecha.
But you're also forgetting the variance of card games. I have to draw the cards. And it's not like
a bad argument. What do you mean you have to draw the card? It's like
it's not like before. It's not like before where if I played Monakas and Planets, then I just drew 4 cards. I awakened, I drew 2 more. It's not like I've already dug through so many levels of my deck and found more answers. You have to either have the answer or find the answer. And if you're gonna have the leader exist in the game, like, there's no other way to have the leader exist in the game. Like, there's no other way to do it. And so this way, at least gives the leader still playable, and the leader's still good. Is the leader the best? I don't think it's going to be the best deck.
I don't think it's going to be the best deck either. I agree with him, just because the sheer fact is you can just play like a kill board game against. If you're going to play pure defensive and you're not going to actively play cards that let you awaken in the variant like Matt's talking about, you're just like, I can kill board you. Like, I can literally just play like the Zamafu deck, and I could just sit back on pick. Like, cool, what are you going to do? Bloodlust it? If you're going to play like actual threats, I'm just going to pick them off. Like, you can't actually be like, okay, like, so you could do like a turn 3 or turn 4 Little King Vegeta to try and set up your play to, protect the apes later on. But like, then I still get a shot at trying to do that, because you can't awaken if you're not playing self-flip cards. So, of course, the card's exposed. And then if I'm not attacking you and I'm just trying to set up a kill board strategy because you're just trying to bloodlust my things, you're going to run out of bloodlust. So when I play the things like food that actually matter, you're dead. So it didn't matter. And then also, since I know that you don't have any way to self-flip, if I, deduce that, I can just go to 7 and then foo. And then when you play the bloodlust, I can just ring laser and then just kill you again.
Also, think about the other thing that made Mecha the best deck, not only in set 2 but now, was it was the only deck that could mitigate being on the draw.
Correct.
It was the only deck that could. Now, it can't do that. Think about how bad Mecha Frieza is on the draw now.
Yeah, there's that as well. But the thing is, so since you can't go super wide, because your opponent now has some degree of when you can awaken, and you can't turn 1 March to protect yourself or turn 2 March to protect yourself, the deck then immediately becomes vulnerable once again to Mass Saiyan, and it's already vulnerable. It also becomes vulnerable to Vegeta, because the reason Vegeta fell off is because it can present 2 to 3 threats a turn, but Mecha in its current iteration can very easily mitigate 2 to 3 threats a turn. That's why, but Mass Saiyan can still do that. That's why it's somewhat played. But because you can't present apes in the until at least like turn 3 or 4 with the current iteration of Mecha, that's more than enough time for Vegeta to kill you. Marcel killed people in turn 3 or less all the time. Like, the only thing now you have to worry about is Shigesh. Yeah, now all you have to worry about is Shigesh. And if I can control the degree in which you get Shigesh, like, because, you know, again, you have to
tap
play...
yellow.
You have to tap a yellow.
I would argue, though, that Marcel was killing people, killing, Mecha players turn 2 or 3 because they were hurting themselves on their turn, right? And so they can't do that anymore.
No, but, but, like, if you're, like, playing the way you're suggesting to try and, like, get cards to awaken by playing Bloodlust in response to things, like, that's fine. Like, you're
I'm just saying, if you're playing Vegeta and you take a life and you attack me and I play a free Reese's Corrosion to help, it helps me awaken and it stops your aggression at the same time. Do you see what I'm saying? Where before it was a resource I had to use, you know, I had to either take a life weirdly or whatever. But now you're helping me awaken and you're not doing anything for yourself. Like, he only has so many criticals he can take, right? And so, like, it's definitely not the same format. Plus, my end game is I have giant 20k barrier apes that you can't get through. Do you know what I mean? So I guess what I'm trying to say, like Mecha's defense has been improved, but like Vegeta's offense has not been improved.
What one of the things I think Matt was trying to say is, like, you are drawing a lot less cards because the speed at which you get cards now is not determined by you that much. Like, you have some degree of it because you can play stuff on your opponent's turn. Like, that will help you, but that is, the opponent has to like be willing to also give you that card. If I'm just gonna play a draw go game, then like you have to start doing things as well. Like, you can't just sit there like and wait for me to do something.
I think Mecha Frieza can play a draw go game very well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's how I like. Well, I don't think Result of Training is ever going to come back. I think the format's too fast for that shit.
I agree. I think Result is basically dead with the things like no openings.
Yeah. But I mean, like, Mecha Frieza, I feel, could just like play a draw go game just like anybody else. If being able to play turn 1 objection was like really good.
Sure.
But I mean, there's like leaders that do that already. Like SS3 Goku, like you basically get to play turn 1 objection, but you also get to take 2 life, which and then
objection on top of that, you can actually do 2 if you want.
Yeah, so like you can do like SS3 Goku monkeys, which some people I think have been playing around with, but I don't. I think like the biggest thing that I never liked about Mecha Frieza was playing around unknown threats, which was like which is like Cold Bloodlust and Crusher Balls for free. That was like probably one of my biggest things.
Attack, for example.
Yeah,
you have no idea if that's coming. You just have to play around.
Like playing around like unknown threats is like kind of an annoying thing. It's like playing against Force of Will and Magic. You know, it's just like one of those, you know, do you have it kind of ordeal. Like, you don't know. I can play tap out control. That was like the thing that I thought Ginyu was really balanced with, is you had to show that you had Cold Bloodlust like at every turn where you were playing.
No, that was great. That's why I love the deck, is because there was, you know, lines of play that you had to take to ensure that you could either fake it or like actually present it.
And Ginyu also had a better matchup against defensive decks as well by playing Galdo and just being able to hit like free Galdos out of nowhere, but it just had blockers against that. But regardless, I mean, just like Mecha Frieza is just like probably going to be still one of the best leaders by far, especially in the yellow color. I'm not going to say it's like going to beat everybody. I still think like Mass Saiyan and Zamasu. I do like the Zamafu deck. It's actually really good. It does have a rough Cell matchup. Like Cell and Mecha Frieza are going to be like and Pan are going to be like the representatives.
Wasn't Michael's matchup, or not Michael's, Jacob's matchup?
He got Sunday destroyed by Cell. It
was androids. Well, I mean the cell, but I mean, just your ability to crit and empty out his hand, just it wrecked his whole day. There's nothing about it.
Yeah, playing Zamasu.
Yeah, he was playing.
That's why you have to sign 4 scientists, because that's literally. People ask me, "What's the first card? What's always in your sideboard?" And I'm just like, 4 scientists, because you can't. You have to play a fair game against that deck. You just can't. You have to do that.
Yeah, the thing that I think like Mecha Frieza still gets, that's like Shigesh into Kill, Shigesh into, you know, anything like Value Town. Like Shigesh is still like a super valuable card. I played around with green yellow Ginyu, and it still like did cool stuff. You know, like you still get the Shigesh, like your insane value cards.
I think that Ginyu is one of those decks that actually can beat this version of Mecha that you're talking about.
Yes, it can.
I think it's just a worse version.
But he gets to the punch faster than you do.
He does.
He can pop off way faster than you.
Between his taking life, between no openings, between Caulifla, he'll awaken on turn 2.
Do you think the person that gets this Shigesh first is always going to be like winning in that scenario, or do you think the person but like the thing is when you're trading Shigeshes and one gets to play Cold Bloodlust for free while the other one can't, like I think your Shigeshes become more powerful than the Ginyu player's Shigeshes. Because they have to hold up mana for it, and I don't. So I get to play tap out, and they don't get to play mana. They don't get to play like yellow energy until turn 3. Because you want to play Kaba on turn 2 into a Khalifa, and then you get to Shigesh the next turn. So they don't get to play yellow till turn 3, while I get to go, you know, just like straight up green energy forever, and I still get to play Cold Bloodlust while you have to sit and play a turn behind. I think Mecha Frieza is still better than Ginyu, but now it's like close-ish, but not. I don't think it's like very close. You could see people adapting really easily by just playing no opening Son Goku and just killing themselves that way. You know, like that's still like a real card that exists, and then they'll just like gain value off of any card. Like any time that they could play an extra card and they just want to awaken, they can. And then just like no opening Son Goku will just be that nice replacement for Monica. It's like a stronger card.
But it forces you to attack.
Yeah, that's fine.
It forces you to do something. You're making a decision. You are making a play that somebody gets to interact with.
I'm just saying, like,
as opposed to a Monica.
Yeah, well, yeah. No. That whole entire ordeal was just like crazy. But what I'm trying to say is like the deck will adapt and it'll still be the best yellow leader. I don't think any yellow leader will compete with it. I think like Cooler was the only one that was on the second just because it plays kind of like Mass Saiyan and gets to play Shigesh. I think Shigesh is just like insane.
And Trey Faircloth is all over that.
Yeah.
But the meta now is gonna diverge away from 3 mecha decks being in the triangle, and now I think it's gonna turn more wide. I think everybody has their own representatives nowadays.
It's gonna be Mecha, Cell, like Cell chain deck, whether that's androids or Mira or Cell himself.
I like
then
Mira.
Sure. Yeah, I like Mira. I think they're all cool. But it's Cell chain deck, and then SS3 Goku. Yeah, so you're right back to like set 2, which is fine. I mean, I talked about this a lot. Rock paper scissors meta. I like it. I think it's fine. But I don't think. I mean, people are under suppression that they can. That Mecha's gone. We're never going to see Mecha again. He's unplayable. And I'm telling you, these people are in for a rude awakening. This
it's
still
the best.
The leader's still really good. It's still really good. But the thing is everyone knows this. There's always going to be best decks in a format, which is fine. But at least with this change, is every deck moves a level up.
Yes,
like
that is.
Every deck can take a game off of someone. Like it's not everything's going to be subject to, well, I got killed on turn 1 or turn 2, or well, I just didn't have a chance. Like now every deck has game. Like whereas before it wasn't even close.
I think Cell might. It depends on how much Mecha gets put in, but I feel like it's going to be whichever deck is more present is going to like kind of overwhelm the other one in terms of like Cell and Mecha Frieza, because I think like those two are going to be the ones butting heads for like top of the food chain, while everybody else
based off just sheer statistical numbers. Like...
Not that. It's just like androids is so strong. Like it does everything that it wants, and all they got introduced in set 3 was just cantrips like crazy. Like now
androids is a deck that gets better the more time you give it, right?
Yeah,
like it's really terrible at the I'm gonna say real terrible, but it's not that great at the beginning, and then it gets better and better and better the more energy it has to play with. The less life it's at, the more powerful it gets. It's like it's one of those like inevitable decks or whatever. So I agree that androids is a fantastic deck. I think Mira might be a little bit better in the cell chain deck department or whatever, but it is definitely a very strong deck. Sure. I've always hated the most about Mecha Frieza, and it still kept that thing, and that's why I'm so surprised at, is that it has no interaction. There's no way you can interact with it. It's still that way. There's still, I could look at my opponent, he can be tapped out, and I still have to play around like 4 different cards, and that's not fun. That's not good for a game, and it's not good for a competitive deck at all. I don't want to sit down and look at my opponent and be like, you're tapped out, I'm going to kill your Kel, and they're just like, oh cool, I run King Vegeta surprise attack, kill your guy. And it's like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? That's great. So you have to play around all this. You even have to play around Mafuba if they're tapped out. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's
unknown
like
threats.
Right, exactly.
They still have to jam all those cards into their deck.
Sure, and I'm not saying that there is a downside to have to do that, Matt. I'm just saying that it's the only leader in the game that forces you to do that, right? It's the only leader that you look at and you're like, okay, you're tapped out, but you can have like 6 different cards I have to play around. So here we go. I just have to take the 50-50 and hope that the card I'm playing around you actually have in your deck at all, number one, and number two, that you don't have it. And
nah, dude,
like,
you just jam it every
single
single
just
time.
go for it, buddy. You just go in there. You're like,
jam it
calling you, baby. You don't have it. Yeah, exactly. I think that's like, it's. I like the. There was somebody who was talking about. Maybe it was Greg Cross was talking about the you can't lower a card's specified cost, and I was like, man, that's very interesting because it would shut down, some of these cards. But go ahead, Pat. You were saying.
Oh no, just I really like that change. I was actually kind of hoping that was one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that,
that was
too.
Like that was like the Japanese card errata is what I was told. Is that it can't go it can't go below 1. I think it takes a specified cost, but it can't go below 1.
Right.
Yeah, that would have been perfect. I don't know what they were thinking. Like,
well, I mean, you can still do monkeys on turn 2. But
yeah, I mean,
you just don't have the consistency of it where you don't like have Planet Vegeta. You get to basically play like SS3 Goku in that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But you can still do monkeys on turn 2 now, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, you still have to present, energy of some sort for me to know, like, oh, he's got King Vegeta.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You're not playing against it's like
you're not playing against hidden threats.
Yeah, exactly. And it's possible. We talked about this in the group chat, and I'm gonna let Danny and Jordan a little quiet. But I talked about this a lot today, where maybe my problem is just with Cold Bloodlust. Maybe I just dislike Cold Bloodlust as a card, and Mecca is the biggest, I guess, the most abusive card of that. I don't know, but
sorry to just
no, you're fine. That's what we're here for, man. It's more fun when you guys talk like that.
We're talking about like development cycles again. They were not aware that Cold Bloodlust and like Tricolor Guinea was played as it was.
Sure.
Until like the beginning to halfway point of set 2, like a couple was it like maybe like 2 months after it came out or whatever. So they weren't aware of that. So like the earliest they could give you a card that answers Cold Bloodlust is Tournament Power. That's if they just jammed it in as soon as they were aware that you guys were saying it's a problem. So like that's never did I think in set 3 we were going to get an answer to it.
What do you think if they eroded Cold Bloodlust to take away Frieza's army? They just made like a generic counter spell for people that played yellow.
That was actually one of my suggestions to Mecha Frieza was not make him Frieza arm anymore. Like was to make him just
well, I mean, like, do you think? But if everybody got access to Cold Bloodlust, do you think Cold Bloodlust would still be like the problem that it is?
And Jordan has the best solution to this. Jordan, talk a little bit about Cold Bloodlust because we talked about this in group chat, and I want you to talk a little bit about it. Plus, you're being quiet.
Yeah, I'm being quiet, pretty much. Yeah, we talked about it earlier, and honestly, I can't even remember what we were talking about. To be quite honest with you,
typical Jordan.
Jog my memory here.
So we're talking. I think your solution was that Cold Bloodlust needs a downside, right? Like Bad Ring Laser has a downside, like Nimbus has a downside, and Cold Bloodlust is just like gotcha. So I think yours is like maybe discard a card or something.
Yeah, I think instead of doing what they did, changing the rules of the game, which I still hate that you can blind Cold Bloodlust something. I think that was terrible for the game. It's just bad.
I agree.
It's bad game design. Mm-hmm. But they did it, so it is what it is. But I think instead of that, if they thought Cold Bloodlust was too much of an issue, they should have just gave it. They just should errated it, made it either like 2 mana, which I mean, Mecca could still play it. I mean, on the backside, but it would just make it more like, and not like you can just splash it in every deck. You're like, oh, I'm just gonna throw 4 Cold Bloodlust in just because it's 1 mana. It's like I'm gonna.
Are you saying you're saying 2 yellow?
Yeah, 2 yellow. 1. I was thinking 2 yellow is kind of steep. I was thinking maybe like one of each, maybe. Or my favorite one would be like Bad Ring Laser. Make it so it has to you have to discard a yellow, kind of like Nimbus as well. Give it like a downside.
Yeah.
And that way, and make sure it goes through. Like, say you have a downside with it. If you the cell chain, perfect example. Like you negate the cell chain, you have to discard a yellow, it stops it. Now, with the way it is now, you have to stop the 5-drop when they're playing it. Makes no sense. I'm gonna imaginary Cold Bloodlust, and you're just not gonna pull anything out. Like to me, that's just stupid. There's no other way to put it.
Well, I think
Sagesh is another one. Like they can just Sagesh you, and you can be like Cold Bloodlust. So I won't play anything.
Well, every time I bring up the Cold Bloodlust argument, everyone I always talk to is like, Cold Bloodlust is fine. It's like, okay, I disagree. I think that it's a necessary effect. but I think it's a terrible implementation. And the reason why is because of the changes they made, right? They made it to try to make Cold Bloodlust weaker because it was absurd, right? Like, it sucks every time you build a deck, and I'm sure Pat can back me up on this, when you're like, oh, I have this really cool idea, I want to play Goku Black, and I want to go up and destroy 3 of your land, ha ha ha, and it's like, you sit down, you're against a Cold Bloodlust leader, and you're like, never mind, I just lose. Like,
you next level him, dude. You play Mighty Striker Son Gohan. What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? What's he gonna get dunked on?
What you do now is you're able to splash in yellow, so you can play
25k double strike. That's game.
Oh my god!
No, but like,
he doesn't want it, dude. He doesn't want it.
No, but that's one of those things where we're getting off topic with the Mighty Striker Gohan, but like that's one of those strategies you can do, like. Because, like, when I've been playing Mecca for a little bit now, I'm trying to learn the lines of play, and, like, I realize, like, against certain decks, like, you know, Cold Bloodlust is just not good. Against a lot of decks, it's amazing. It's, like, the best card in the world. But certain decks, man.
Red decks. That was my
like
that was my argument.
That was what I was trying to explain to people. Like, Cold Bloodlust is great because literally every card in this game is ETB, enter the battlefield. It gets an enter the battle. Like, cards like Jiren and like Topo, those cards have like just generically good static abilities. If your deck is just filled with static threats, oh my god, is Cold Bloodlust terrible. That's why like the Ape's Mirror is so bad, because it's literally every ape is just static. So it's like, if you play the Apes Mirror, like the first card that anytime I played the Apes Mirror, it states literally all my Cold Bloodlust right to the sideboard. Bring in anything else because it's terrible.
Yeah, we have 2 questions in chat. One's from the Hill Twins. What's up, guys? Thank you so much for stopping by. It says hitting Mecca was great because you'll see. I'm sorry, I got to scoot this over. You'll see less Cold Bloodlust leaders now. And I don't agree that you're going to see less Cold Bloodlust leaders. I think you're just going to see different ones, right? I think Ginyu becomes, you know, a good Cold Bloodlust leader. And I think that's the whole problem with Yellow in general. Yellow, since set 1, has been the Cold Bloodlust leaders, right? You either play Ginyu or Mecca, or you play none of the other leaders because they're all bad because they don't have Cold Bloodlust. None of the other ones are better, right? I mean, do you guys agree with that? Like, do you think this change makes it so you can play Baby Goku Yellow now, or you can play?
I don't know what format you've been playing in, dude, but Meta Cooler's been wrecking.
He's just been wrecking.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. Like, it's some of those things where I just have to test it because, like, I don't know, like, you're gonna have these moments where, like, if you played like almost the same list, Bardock versus this current Mecha change, like, Bardock is going to bury you in card advantage. So, like, even though like,
I've got the best deck ever.
Doesn't Bardock have to attack you to draw a card, right?
Yeah.
So he's just awakening you to draw a card.
But it
does matter, though, right?
Yes. No, I know. Like, that's fine. But, like, the point is, like, Bardock will just get, you know, a ton of cards throughout the course of the game, and then the untap 2 lets him make, a big tempo swing at some point in the game. So, like... And maybe obviously you have the advantage because you can stop all my removal, but like in theory, like over the course of the game, like I should be burying you in hand advantage. So like again, it's just something you'd have to test. So like it's not. I don't think it's as clear cut as like Mecca is the thing. Like it's the best. Like it's still not on top because like I said, against obviously you have the ability to tap out and have the Cold Bloodlust, but some of these other leaders are just faster and draw just way more cards. So like they could just beat you to the punch.
Do you think Cold Bloodlust should have been Frieza's army, or do you think it should have been just yellow leaders?
It needed to have a restriction.
Yeah, I agree.
Of some sort. I don't know if Frieza's army is the best restriction, but
I don't think it is a restriction. When I think of oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
At worst, you just play Ginyu. Like Ginyu's just like a generic leader. At worst, you just play Ginyu. It's always going to be like, as long as there's nothing overpowered like Mecha, you just jam Cold Bloodlust and Ginyu, and it'll always be good because you self-awaken. You don't have to add bad cards to your deck.
Yeah,
it's gonna be decent regardless.
It should have had probably a higher cost, honestly. Like one with Frieza's army is not really a cost.
Yeah, because one of the arguments in chat right now is people are saying, well, if you take away Cold Bloodlust, then Cell Chain's way too powerful. It's like, well, maybe that's the problem with Cell Chain, right? Not.
Oh, Cell Chain's something I absolutely would not.
Is an absurd card, right?
Dude, I think a lot of things become powerful.
There's like nothing.
What'd you say, Danny? I'm sorry. What did you say, bud?
If you take away Lust, a lot of decks will go unchecked, and a lot of it's not even like Cell Chain's not even like Soul Strikers could beat like a Cell Chain without Lust, right? And all that kind of stuff. But like things like, I think when Goku Black came out, I was like, what the hell? You can blow up my energy on turn 3 or 4, and it's like so hard to come back from that, right? Mm-hmm. And then not having Lust to kind of keep them in check was, I think, necessary.
If Lust wasn't a thing, Goku Black would have been probably like Tier 1.
One of the best decks.
Destroying energy.
Yeah, but the funny thing about that comment, and I just think this is a funny thing to talk about, is like, so why doesn't people build Goku Black and just hope they don't run into Mecha Frieza?
Because it's a
takes
tier
a
1
long
deck.
time.
Right. It can still happen.
You
though, right?
lose. You're like, I feel like it's the smartest thing if you ever go into a tournament is don't ever play a deck that has an auto loss.
Sure.
Which Peter Katana did at the last one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's why I originally in set 1 I went to Ginyu, because I was like, I want to play the leader that checks the most amount of things.
Yeah.
Like,
You always play the 50-50 deck. You never play the deck that's like 70, like that has just an auto loss 10-90 matchup. You're just like,
Yeah, but so isn't Cobalus decks
no
always
fun,
the 50-50 deck?
I know, yeah, you gotta do the gamble.
Right?
Well,
I
here's the
was
thing.
just
No, I mean, real quick. I mean, but isn't Cobalust always the 50-50 decks?
Coldblast
Soul Striker.
Yeah, it's because it's the control decks are like just super. Control decks are always one of those like it's based on any form of permission that's put in card games is normally like the better player will win most of the time. Like anytime you put like permission versus permission, it's always the better player winning. And if you put permission versus somebody not playing permission, the person not playing permissions just has a worse matchup.
Yeah, unless you give that player some kind of tool to combat the permission, which this game has yet to do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
But the thing is like if you take out Cold Bloodlust, like Cell Chain gets insane, Goku Black gets insane, and the 85 Necrotals that are in this game get ridiculous.
This all could be like a moot point because like I said, Tournament of Power is basically the fastest they could have printed a thing to Cold Bloodlust. We don't know what's behind the curtain. Like literally,
Well, of course,
spoilers,
of course.
Tournament of Power spoilers could literally drop the same day that this rat is legal, and then like you see like in the next set, like if your leader is saying negate an extra card, and maybe it costs like 2 or 3. Like I don't know.
Sweet.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome.
Then it's like then the whole point is moot because then it's like okay, well I'll get to like maybe I'll drag the game out to like 6 or 7 energy. I'll drop my like Kale. All right, cool. You want to bloodlust me? Cool. I'm gonna play this extra card that like literally only my leader can play. Yours can't.
Here's like the question that I normally present to like a lot of people is would you guys like a duress effect in the game? Would you guys let like the way I put it is like
love
one
duress.
Yeah, like a one
It's
green if your leader's
It's so hard to have those effects in the game because if you look at
cards are.
Yeah, because if you look at your opponent's hand, and choose an extra card remove, like you get to see all their combo power. So you're like, cool, I can kill you now. I'll go in. Like that's like 50% of the game is like the combo phase, right? Maybe even more than that.
I mean, that's honestly. It's tough because I'm a huge fan, like Jordan, because of Pansy, but Confrontation and Stare Down, like those cards. But the difference is the hand sizes in those games were so small, and the combat system was every single turn. So those cards were a little bit more balanced. But in this game, the amount of knowledge you pick up, and plus the timing in which you could use those cards, I just don't think it's something that would go over well.
Yeah,
unless you had like choose a battle card that costs 3 or less, but still you're gaining complete knowledge of their hand, that's rough. And then you'd have to make counter spells for that too.
Right, I think you'd have to just choose like 3 random cards from their hand, and then choose one of those cards to get rid of or something. That way, you're not seeing the whole hand or something.
What card was that? Where it's like literally your opponent like has to show you a card face up and face down. They choose either to discard the face up or the face down. And you keep the other one. Like if that was a card, that's
kind of cool. I like that. Yeah, that'd be sick.
If you wanted a hand control effect for like cheap, like that'd be fine. Like your opponent has to reveal to you a card face up and a card face down from their hand. You choose
some blackjack.
Or actually, what if they did something like they just kept it like the duress effect, but it said you can't attack this turn. So you play it, you get a card out of their hand, but you can't attack. So you can't take advantage of that information this turn.
So it'd only be good on like turns 1 and 2, and then like turns
and then it becomes
3
worse.
plus. Yeah. It's weird because you'd have to word it in a way that if you haven't attacked this turn,
yeah, you would have to do it that way. If you haven't attacked this turn, you can look at their hand and discard like a battle card or whatever. And that case, you can't attack.
I was gonna say we all know Bandai's strong suit is definitely English.
Proud Spark Vados, the best worded card ever printed.
Time Ring, I think, is the best worded card.
Yeah, Time Ring's pretty awesome.
Read that card and come back to me. That's
Time Ring really that bad?
The Time Ring's pretty shitty. Read it.
It's Proud Spark Vados is like, I think, was my go-to of, oh my god, what are they trying to say?
I just think I would rather play around Goku Black Chain than I would, play around the current stuff. Like I would rather sit down from a Goku Black and see him ramping up and having a clear-cut plan, and then me trying to beat that plan before he gets there, than I would being like, you know what, here we go. I would like maybe it's because I come from other games where there isn't stuff like this, where you have to get used to what's in the meta and just find a way to beat it. But right now you have that one kind of band-aid that's holding the meta together, I think, and it's scary to me. It's very scary.
But it depends on like what kind of meta you want. Because if you look at it in like a triangle meta, like, do you want this game to be a triangle meta, or do you want this game to be just like a tier 1, tier 2 meta? Like, in terms of tier 1 is like actually really spread out and diverse, but like tier 2 can still compete with tier 1 and like has some like rogue matchups. The thing is, it's just like triangle meta in a hero based game, I think is really rough to sell to people.
I want to ideally a game where literally I can look at a top 8 from like a national level event and like 6 of the leaders are different. That's what I want.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
And I don't think you're ever going to have that in a cold ballistic.
no.
So there's this great rule in UFS called diversity, where it forces.
No, UFS. No. Worst rule ever.
It's one of the worst rules ever. The reason why he brings that up, though, is there's this guy, Tam, that's at our local, super fun guy. He's a really cool dude. Has been diversified, what, 5 times out of Worlds?
No, he got twice in like nationals in another big tournament.
Dude.
It was the funniest thing because he's defended that rule.
Sorry to spin off the topic here, but he went 7-0-1 in the tournament and got diversified. He drew with the other player, got diversified.
What is that? Do you guys explain it to me? I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
UFS has a bunch of characters in the game, so how they kind of like work it out is in top 8, only one of the character can be in top 8. So how they do it is that everybody plays their games, and then whoever has the best record of a character gets the top 8 spot, and the other guy just gets like some prizes, some diversified prizes.
Yeah.
So every top 8 is like really diverse, but everybody in top 8 didn't really earn their spot.
It's the stupidest rule ever.
That's really
I love it, dude. Do it. I like it. It's awesome. Here's
but the messed up thing is. Oh, I'm sorry. But the messed up thing is that you could sideboard characters in, so you play the worst leader in your main board, and then every game you just sideboard into the better leader, so you have better diversified chances.
I like it. Smart. So Thug he went ahead and posted the time ring text. It says, look at up to 10 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 Goku Black or Zamasu among them. If you have 4 more energy, choose 2 instead. Add the choose up to instead. Add the chosen cards to your hand and shuffle your deck.
Yeah, okay. What? Dude, that's the thing. Like, I stopped reading it after add the choose up to part, so I thought the card was worded perfectly because I understand what they're trying to say, like immediately, and then it's just I didn't read that part. Yeah, that's awful.
Choose up to instead.
Dyslexic ass.
I'm just sitting here like thinking about the old UFS days when I played it, where I could literally get to be Chun-Li, and it's like, oh, dude, you played a second card on your turn. All right, cool. I'm gonna take a turn in the middle of your turn, so you can't really take your turn.
Yep.
Like, oh, cool. I'm gonna go for an OTK combo on your turn, and just like your stuff doesn't resolve. Like, it's still on the stack. Just hold on. Let me try and OTK you on your own turn. But, okay, cool.
The next regional after San Jose, I think, is going to have a more diverse meta, where you're probably going to get to the point where it was like beginning of set 2, where it's like Vegeta, Ginyu, and Cell, where, you know, that was like kind of spread out amongst top 8 that core TCG tournament.
But even then, he'd have some other stuff sneak in too, like Trunks and
Zamafu is still gas.
Speaking of though, by the way, best Metacooler variant used in a deck so far. Locally, we saw this yellow-blue Trunks deck using Infinite Force Multiplication Metacooler to
keep drawing cards.
Pat, can Zamafu beat Cell Chain? Like, I mean, obviously it's a tough matchup. But like, are you?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Is it afterboard?
I'm just talking in general. I mean, sure, if you want to include sideboard, it's fine.
You can, like, one of the cards I really like in the matchup is Mafuba, but if your opponent's smart, they can just like kind of nullify that play entirely.
Okay.
It really depends on like a lot of factors. Like, it's just how good is your 3-card hand, basically, because you can draw out of it. Like the deck already plays enough ramp, and it goes low on hand size anyway. Like, I actually played against a Cell player recently, and like he didn't want to Cell chain me because taking me from 4 to 3 felt like the worst thing ever.
Yeah, zero value.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So like there was no real value there, and then he just let the game go long, and I was like, cool, just kill you.
Sure. Okay.
So it depends. Like it's entirely like there's enough room where you can basically outplay them. Like, that's the one thing I do like about the deck, is that even though it's not perfect, there's enough room for me to outplay everything that's not Mecha. And I've been, obviously you've seen, I've been brewing a lot to try and mitigate that matchup. The biggest thing, like, Cell objection was like, probably one of the best answers for Cell, just to get your hand like really low, and if you don't see it and you just keep playing your cantrips, then it gets really awkward because they're still just going to sell you. But then, like, the other card, which what was it? I talked to Patrick Kowal after he top 32'd with a Buhan deck. He was playing Mysterious Presence Monica, and I love that card.
Yeah, the 3-drop.
Yeah, that card is fantastic against Cell.
Oh yeah,
It's also blue.
Everybody is trolling Danny so hard in chat. Danny, what is your opinion, buddy? Let's hear some words from the Canadian here. So what going forward?
I enjoy listening to you guys talk.
From the next format, what do you think is like? What do you think the meta is going to look like after this errata?
I think Mecca is still gonna be there. I never liked Cell chain decks. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's not the way I play, but like originally when Set 2 came out and like Cell Chain was a thing and Goku Black was like a thing, my whole, when I was making decks, because I didn't want to play at the time, which would be Ginyu, which kind of like, you know, how the bloodlust keep them in check. I didn't want to play. When I was making my deck, I was trying to figure out how to beat these combo decks without the access of Cold Bloodlust, and because obviously Cold Bloodlust I think was the only thing that was really keeping them in check, and that's how I came up with when I first built my Cell hand destruction. I figured I could rip out their combo pieces before they could effectively, you know, combo me down. You know, like Goku Black has to objection into Whis, and every time they do that, or they don't have to do that, but if that was their line of play, they would be at 2 cards, and on the turn where I could Broly them. The Cell Chain, when you guys said you objection, you keep your hand low. They can't really Cell Chain you without really, they don't get any benefit of it, and after you objection, you get to Broly them and start ripping their pieces out of their hand. And that's how, like, when we went to Connecticut, I honestly think I could have won that tournament if I just didn't misplay. Actually, if I didn't draw so bad in my game 3 in Top Cut. But at that time, I think that Cell deck that I was playing was one of the best in the format. Like, I had no trouble with Ginyu, which was the top deck. And any of those combo decks, I could always rip out their hands before they could do anything to me. Like, I was beating people on turn, like, I wouldn't say it's not turn 4 or 5, but they would have like 3 or 4 energy, and I would have won by then with that deck. And I think because I didn't top with it, because I didn't win, it didn't really see popular play, and because the Cell Chain leader won that deck, that's why it became so popular. But I think the Cell Chain variant was at the time not the right variant to play. But that was just my opinion. Obviously, I didn't top, so I can't really. Well, I did top, but I didn't win, so I can't. That's
one thing I want to say though. Like, this is like the 3rd time it's called tonight. Like, and it's something that does, like, it's a pet peeve of mine. It does bug me with this community. It's just because something won does not mean it's the best thing.
Yes, absolutely. Thank
you. What are you talking about, dude? Look at Lantern control. All that matters is that you're first, and if you're first, it's the best deck.
When I first started doing,
and it's always yours.
When I first started doing content, like, I used to make videos. Like, you go back and look at my page. I used to make videos about trying to teach people how to be better deck builders and teach you the theory on why things are good, and like reading the field, and no views. Literally just random deck list, and like everybody's like, yeah. So I don't know.
Tell me about it, Jesus. That's been my jam. I just like post a random deck list, and it's just like, oh, hey, look. Everybody watch that one. Nobody watched the.
Yeah.
Let's watch me build all these decks.
It's not just as clear cut as, like, you know, Peter Katani just going like, you know what, I'm just gonna play this deck because it's the best. Like, there's a reason why he picked the deck. Like, there's a reason why he chose the 50 cards that he chose.
I'll tell you this with you know, on top of that, Pat, to kind of back you up here. I know whenever I played in Gen Con and used the Vegeta hand destruction deck, I got 3rd because I suck and made like a terrible misplay. And not very many people were talking about my deck. People were talking about like the Champa deck that won, like Anthony Hernandez's deck, and and arguably my deck was the best deck in the format because it was like a hand destruction deck, right? And I think that after that, it really opened up my eyes. I was like, holy crap, like, you know, sometimes player skill, right, makes good decks perform worse. And so those decks are like 4th and 5th and 6th. Sometimes those decks just got bad matchups too, right? And so I think you should always analyze the entire top 8 and not just the deck that won.
Oh yeah, I 100%. So, yeah, two things. One, was like the first video I made is explaining how like literally Anthony won with Champa. Champa just like all of a sudden was the best. It was everywhere.
That deck was so bad, Pat.
It was really bad.
It wasn't good.
No, because like literally it was so funny because like I went to the local one week and literally everybody was playing Champa and they're like, because it's the best deck in the game.
Right.
And then I sat down with my blue-yellow Ginulus and I trashed them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I remember I was talking to John Tata in the group, and he was like, "Dude, Champa's so good," and he was just getting into the game, so he was like, "Man, I was like, well, it's actually kind of bad." And he's like, "How's it bad? Man, you draw all these cards." I was like, "Oh, because I just discard your hand." And he's like, "Well, but I'll, whenever I awaken, I'll draw a bunch of cards." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I don't attack you, so like, don't worry about it." You know what I mean? Like, you can't awaken, right? And then I think it was just people, just like you said, they just saw it as the best, and they just immediately was like, "It's the best deck, man. You just play all these cards, you draw cards, man. Anthony Hernandez, he won. Check it out. It's Champa." It's like, it's so, I agree 100%. I do think it's something I wish we could break as a community, just to look at.
The easiest way to do it is through the wonderful meta tracker that you can find at dbs-decks.com. Like
we said the website right.
Yeah, literally, like that's like kind of what kills it. Coming from Magic, like MTG Goldfish just totally throws everything that you think is just like, oh, this is the best deck because it won a Pro Tour. It's just like you look at the statistics and you're just like, nah.
Yeah,
hey, I happen to be making something that does.
Yeah, look at all these other decks that are just like, this is 30% of the meta, but a 5% of the meta deck like won randomly. It doesn't make it, better. It's just it won.
Like, right, but that's actually why I love playing like kind of fringe decks on stream, because you'll take a deck like Zamafu, right? Like Pat's. Obviously, I was playing like an outdated build, right? And I did okay. I think I won like 2 of my 3 games or something like that. But I know for a fact if Pat sat down with the deck, he would just crush everybody, right? And it's fantastic. So if I took Zamafu to a tournament and Pat wasn't there, and I got like 10th with the deck, people might be like, "Oh, that deck's trash. I got 10th." But like the thing is if like you play the deck, you learn the deck, right? It could easily get first, right? Because a better player is playing it, right? And a lot of times the decks that like Marcel's playing and Jordan's playing and Danny's playing and Matt Combs are playing are the ones that are going to get top tier.
That's actually what inspired me. Like I talked to Marcel after Virginia, and he's like, "Look, I literally just picked my deck and I just played it on Octagon against people, and I played against the most random stuff." And I learned the matchup, and I learned what cards were good, which cards were bad, and I just learned how to beat the random stuff. So there's nothing you can play now that can surprise me, and I'm so comfortable that I'll always make the right decision. Yeah. And when I saw Scott Dashy taught with Gold Frieza, who's been playing forever, I was like, picking one leader, and I'm just going to stick with it. I don't care if it's like the best or not. Like, there's something to be said about literally knowing all of the lines of play like down pat. Because like odds are, if you're playing against my deck, you may not have played against it. You don't know it. Like, I probably played against your deck like 1,000,000 times. So, like, I know exactly what I'm supposed to do.
We have Corey in your mom says, "Do you guys think hand destruction still works well in the meta?"
Well,
yeah. What I'll say about
great name.
What I'll say about hand destruction before I pass it off is
hand destruction's. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. No, it's fine. Is I always think hand destruction is a great choice against Cold Bloodlust decks because they are still technically discarding a card if they Cold Bloodlust one of your guys. I also think with the current meta, something we didn't get to talk about, we keep getting derailed here. But I think with the upcoming meta, the one thing Set 3 has done, even though I give Cold Bloodlust a hard time, I do think Cold Bloodlust is much more balanced in this set than it was in Set 1 or 2 because yellow is a lot more splashable. So that means bad ring laser is much more splashable.
That's right. What it took tonight to that event.
Absolutely right. And so you can put in like Bulmas and stuff to be able to counter these Cold Bloodlust decks. Where before you couldn't, you had to play a bunch of terrible yellow cards or play like 4 cards and just hope you drew it, which is strange. So I think in the Cold Bloodlust meta, which I think we're always going to be in, by the way, I think that's always, as long as Cold Bloodlust is a card, whether it's Ginyu, Mecca, whatever, that's always going to be like rock or paper or whatever.
You're missing the point, man. Set 4 when they print Colder Bloodlust.
Colder Bloodlust, baby.
Cost 0 requires you to literally get
coldest blood.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. 0 if you have a pulse. Counter whatever you feel like.
So Danny, I'm gonna let you talk about the hand destruction question. So what do you think? Do you think hand destruction is still viable? Past the Mecha errata with all the things considered. What do you think?
Once I think it will be once. Like I was trying to make hand destruction work for this, but obviously when Mecha, awakens turn 1 and has 11 cards, it's kind of hard to rip cards out of their hand, like effectively. But now that they can't do those like shenanigans and have like 10 cards right away, if the meta does slow down 1 or 2 turns, I think hand destruction definitely can come into it. Especially like my idea that I'm thinking right now is Ginyu and Vegeta are the only ones, at least at the top of my head, that can, you know, each turn do something to awaken them, getting them closer. So but Ginyu for them, like for this argument here, is once I get to awaken with Ginyu, whether it be on turn 3 or 4, and I flip, I can Shigesh in my 3-drop Broly, and then evolve right then and there, and just start ripping 2 random cards out of your hand. But then I have like a 30k. That's like the thing that's like the line of play I'm thinking of right now. And I think being able to do that on turn 3 is, especially with decks that can awaken and have a lot of cards, is going to rock.
Yeah,
that's actually something I forgot about.
Yeah.
Chat is saying the promo Broly. I actually forgot all about him. Actually,
yes, that's what I was saying, dude. Like you were saying before, like Ginyu and Bardock can do these plays faster than Mecca now.
Yeah.
Like, and you can get buried in by it. Ginyu's faster than you. Bardock will bury you in hand advantage. So yes, you have Cold Bloodlust and it's free, but the thing is, like, you might still lose out in the end because Bardock's going to have on average 4 to 5 more cards per game than you.
Okay.
Or you might lose out because Ginyu is literally going to vomit out a board on turn 3. And yes, you could Cold Bloodlust like my 1 Kale, but now the onus is on you at literally like the 7 or 8 life that I left you at to now stop my like Terror Scythe, my Kale, my Kaba, my Caulifla, etc. Like my whole board, my huge board that you have done nothing against. So, go ahead.
No, sorry. No, I was just gonna say I think Shigesh was like, obviously Mecca needed to get hit, but I think Shigesh is what's gonna keep. Like Lust is obviously really good, and that's the reason why a lot of people will play yellow. But Shigesh will be another. It's like, for me, it's my biggest reason to play yellow because I can Shigesh in things like.
Yeah,
he's the separator of colors.
Was it Mark's? I think it was Mark's podcast, right? That I was on, where I literally described the roadmap to the game, where it's Mecca's public enemy #1, and then after that becomes Shigesh,
right.
And then after that comes Barrier, and then after that, like in distant 4th place, comes Fu. Because it's literally like Mecca makes everything too fast, where it's like it's just not even worth playing. It's not fun. Sure. Shigesh, then after you get rid of that, then Shigesh becomes the card that literally like decks that have Shigesh and then decks that don't have Shigesh. Because it's like those ones that can get to Shigesh quickly can now break the game. So it's like then if you get that out of the way, then it's like, well, okay, then you have the decks that literally you can't interact with. And then once you get past that, like I said, in distant 4th is Fu, which is the cards that literally say your opponent can no longer play the game. So those are basically the problem cards right now.
Yeah, and that's one thing I noticed when I built that fog deck was I loved attacking with 8s. I didn't have to think about it. It's just like, I attack if you have Shigesh. I don't care. Do whatever the heck you want to, noob. Doesn't matter. And I do agree that once Shigesh becomes a problem, which I think, like you said, is right around the corner, that Barrier is the best counter to Shigesh, right? Either that or attacking with your leader, right?
I main board Monkey King in my Zamafu deck just because literally he's big enough and hits hard enough, and you can't, and the Mecha decks can't do anything to it.
I agree, and like, or you know, building a leader-based attack, you know, where you can go in with your leader, you know, like stronger leaders might do well. Matt, what do you think, man? I mean, we haven't talked to you in a little bit. Like, what do you think about the new meta coming up? I know you've done a lot of playtesting. What do you think is going to be something scary, you know, going forward? What do you?
John Vados.
I'm all about it.
Dude, it's scary, man. I played against it last night.
12-card hand is Vados. He's like, but I'm like, what were you playing? You were like playing like Mecca? You had like 5 cards. You was Mecca with like 5 cards in hand. I was Vados with 12 in my hand, and I was like, what are you gonna do?
Dude, he was an axe murderer, dude. Like, I don't know what you do against it. Oh no. So green-yellow is still the best color combination in the game. Like, as opposed to anything else. So green-yellow Bardock, green-yellow Ginyu, green-yellow Mecha Frieza, it's hard to do because you also have to stretch the extra cards because you need to have the defensive cards. Green-yellow Kid Goku's great as well. I've tested all 3 of those decks like pretty substantially. They all have very similar lineups, but they're all really good. Green androids and Cell are still at the top. Broly's highly playable now. Not like, I'm not saying he's tier 1, but he's really playable. The only leaders that are kind of like behind are like the red leaders, except for Pan. Like, Pan is just still the best leader in that color and is still really good.
Hashtag PanFam.
Hashtag PanFam. All of the black leaders are all tier 1. Like, not all tier 1, but they're all really good. Like Mass Saiyan, Mira gets better. Trunks is still the worst of the three, but he gets better.
Dude, people are sleeping on that Trunks, dude. That Trunks is strong.
Trunks is really good, especially the Awakened side. It'll get you out of
Are you talking about the black leader?
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
so strong, dude. And not a single person looks at it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just waiting though with this change, man. I'm just waiting for Eric Malone to just step in with his mirror deck that he's been brewing for literally this moment when Mecca is not prevalent.
Yeah. He's ready, man.
Dude, he's
But
so
Mecca
ready.
will still be prevalent. God.
Quick, Dusty.
Dude.
And then the blue leaders, like blue is the other color aside from yellow that had the amount of leaders that are playable expand like exponentially, because it's like Zamasu is still great, SS3 Goku, you have Vegeta, you have Trunks, you have starter deck Goku, which I still think is too slow for this game, but it's still good. But so I mean, the format just opens up a lot.
It's so weird, isn't it? Like going from, and I mean, set 2 was that long ago, right? But it's so weird going from like cards like Super Saiyan Gotenks being like the best card in the game to like you can't even play it anymore.
Barely even
It's just so weird to see that. I love it, but it's weird.
Yeah,
It's
you have
like-
the mana cost check.
Yeah, no, well, Starter Q's just in this really weird wedge right now where it's like anything that can win, like, because his like niche is turn 5, right? Like that's where he explodes. That's his power spike. There's so many decks that can do more stuff than him on turn 4, and literally Fu is like the roadblock it at turn 6. So it's like, cool, you're playing a leader that has a 1-turn window to go off.
Which
So,
is really
like-
weird because even like from set 1 and 2, I know a lot of people are saying it's like Soul Striker, the more cards come out, the better he gets. And now we're in set 3, and it's like, yeah, he's not that good anymore.
Dude,
That's 'cause
he's
one of those cards was
he's really
barrier.
he's really good with EX Evolve.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, the deck that I thought of was just like doing the boo stuff, because you can like turn 5 result of training, flip him,
Oh,
play
yeah.
the 4-drop boo, attack, untap 2, and then get a Buhan.
yeah.
But
So
you know,
like,
you can do that in Mecha Frieza, and it's way sweeter. that's what killed it. Not anymore.
yeah.
No, it's still. Yep, you're still right.
So there's just a lot more playable leaders now that are also getting closer to competitive.
I have a prediction. It's a fad, Mr. Matt. I feel like
Oh,
our Mecha Overlord will still descend upon us.
It's
Laugh
better
in our
than
face.
it's better than literally any of the cards in my hand. These are all like the overlords of previous Bandai games, man. You don't want to play in this. You don't want to play in this meta.
I don't know about that. I'm just saying.
Why
Currently.
can't we just go back to a few months ago where Cold Bolas worked the way it did, and we played a nice set 2 meta? Feels bad, man.
I like
Where you
Zinnia.
lost the Ginyu mirror because of Ready to Strike Piccolo? Not the first copy, but the second.
I even had to go set for that.
I'm an animal, dude.
Yeah, dude.
You're an
I was
animal.
back too.
Jordan, was that the
animal.
tournament? What tournament was I talked to you where you're just like, dude, I mainboard like 4 Go-Tens. He was like so paranoid about getting like Ready to Strike Piccolo. He was like, I can't have it happen.
I know, dude. Gotta main form it now.
I was like, dude, I main like 2, and he was like, dude, I go like, I'm like 4, dude. I can't.
You gotta,
Can't
you
take
gotta,
that.
you
Can't
gotta
take that
main,
beating.
you gotta main 4 still now in Mecha Frieza. So like when you cold bloodless the cell, you cold bloodless the 3-drop cell, and then you know.
Nah, dude, you gotta get with the times, man. You gotta take a life for your family, son. Was it father, son command?
Father,
man?
son. You
Father,
can't-
son,
you
can't
can't do it anymore.
that. You can't do that anymore.
Oh yeah, cool. But I mean, for now,
For now.
what's gonna be like the enemy turn card? Is
10.
it father or son command, man?
Really?
I actually,
What's with adding ER at the end of everything? Father,
No, but I really do want bashfulness in this game, which was like a counter
Oh,
card
yeah.
from like Naruto. Card's so good. It's basically just like if your opponent plays like a big beefy guy, it's like bounce it back to their hand immediately. Like it's just a counter. Like I really want that in this game. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
What do you mean bounce it back in your hand immediately? Does it like actually
like,
come into play?
so it's like one of those things where it's like if your opponent on their turn plays a guy that costs, I think it was 4 more, you would basically just bounce it back to their hand immediately.
Okay.
Like it was just a card you could
So
play.
what was the card that did that in
Spirit.
Magic? It was a
Spirit.
counter that drew you a card. Oh man, it was such a good
Yeah,
card
so-
too.
so it's
There's
like
a lot of
was it
those.
Remand?
Listen, you-
Was it Remand? Was that what it was?
Well,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
Remand-
remand is bounce it to their
Yeah, it's-
hand
yeah.
draw.
Yeah, it's basically sort of like that. Like you could just counter and bounce a guy if it was like a big guy. Like I think it was like
Yeah.
either a 4 or 5 cost guy.
I like
so like
that. That would be sick. Yeah.
yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
awesome because like then you could play around it. You could be like if they go like wide and be like, oh dude, I'm gonna play like a Haru and just like chain a bunch of stuff out. Like that's awesome. But if they like go like, oh, I'm gonna kill you, you're just like, all right, cool, and put it back in your hand, negate it, and put it back in your hand.
I still
You
think
just wasted
a
your
field card that said whenever like no players can attack with cards the turn they play them would be amazing. I would love that.
I feel like that should be a rule.
Jordan, you know what we need in this game? We need. I hate to say it, but like I kind of wish Moroku was in this game.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Moroku is like a client in Naruto, which is like basically like an enchantment. It's think of it like a field spell. It costs 1, and all Moroku said is just players basically just can't play cards that don't normally come into play. So like if you were to march, you can't play apes off of it. If you Shigesh, you cannot play anything off of that. Like you have to play fair cards. Like you literally have to be like, I play this from my hand for its cost. Like you can't reduce costs. You like none of that. It's you have to play cards as they're intended to be played from your hand.
I will say my favorite thing about this podcast so far has been every time Pat and Jordan talk about a Naruto card, I just look over at Matt's little screen, and he does the same thing I do. He's just like, "What is happening? What?" I'm just like, "What are these cards doing?"
Magic.
Every conversation you will have with them will devolve it into Naruto. Like no matter what,
because there's some like sick cards, dude. Like I want like this card.
No,
dude,
Pat, put it away.
Dude, literally, this card is lightning fast hit, but you can play it from your discard pile.
That's not fair.
That wasn't even good. That card wasn't even good in that game.
But I'm just saying, like that's a stupid card to make.
My favorite thing is Jordan's like when you talk about Magic, it's like, yeah, the difference is I don't have a bunch of Magic cards on my computer. I keep flashing on the screen. I don't know what they do.
Too funny.
No, too good. Hanzo was fine, dude. You could play it from your discard pile, and then you could literally like basically
Thank you so much for explaining it.
It was good. It was good work, Pat. Good work, Pat.
I needed it, dude.
All right.
I was like,
your Dusty's chat. Some people are just like put them away, and some people are just like,
get more of them. Give me more.
I get more of those. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think it was like 150 people or a half and a half on it. That's pretty good.
You should just post them on eBay, dude. Just sell them now.
Straw poll.
Yeah, all right, guys, so it's 12:11, guys. We're going to get out of here by 12:30. I want these guys to be able to go to bed. I know we're already running over on Jordan's time. So if you guys have any questions, I know there's like, I think last time I checked, it was like 150, 140 of you guys. So if you guys have any questions at all, let these amazing guests know before we get any further. Please, guys, while the bulk of you are still here, please check these amazing guys out on YouTube. Check them out on Twitch. You can check out Jordan on YouTube. I know Kosh has been leaking his YouTube channel. Same thing with Danny. Also, please check out Matt and Pat O'Neill. I know I've been leaking their stuff quite a bit as well, but please go check these guys out. They're amazing content creators. Our game will not exist without amazing people that are in this chat or in this video.
What about my YouTube channel, huh?
I'm getting there, Mark. You freaking idiot. So, Mark.
Whoa! Wow! Did I treat your guests? I see. I'm never coming back here.
I'm trying to create conflict. It makes a better viewing experience. Every time we do these, every time we do this, it's always like everyone, like one person talks one at a time, and they take their time, and everyone's like, "That's a good idea. I like that idea." And so I like that if we get like 6 people in here, we at least fight a little bit. I think it's better. It's better TV. But yeah, guys, please go check out Markle as well, an amazing programmer, amazing community member as well. He's the creator of DBS Decks. Don't go to DBS Decks. That's like a deck building, actual physical deck building website. But it might be a good place to go if you want a new deck for your house. But yeah, please go check him out. He made amazing community websites with tons of utility as well. And also has a podcast and a YouTube channel as well. Please, guys, I cannot beg you enough. I'm going to shut up after this. Please go check them out. Like, our game will get bigger and better if you support these guys, because these guys are all amazing, all but Cody. So please go check them out.
Oh, no.
Definitely. So, guys,
he still has a pending friend request to Pat O'Neill.
Yeah. You brought it up.
It will never end.
But we have like 15 minutes-ish in this time. I just want you. Okay.
How long ago was it?
All right. I found a question. Thoughts on SS3 Apes? I like that one.
Ooh.
I'll start. I think the deck is very like SS3 Apes, SS3 Goku, or playing apes. You have to like nail it pretty good. You have to find 2 apes in your opener, or you're gonna like 2 apes in the March in your opener, or you're gonna be having a rough game. Just like playing a 4-mana divination isn't that great.
I mean, I think the ironically enough, I think the SS3 Ape Fog deck that I built just kind of for fun, I actually think is a really good deck, and I really enjoy it. I think it auto loses to Cell Chain, which I love that because obviously no one plays Cell Chain right now. So I think it's great. But I think after the errata, it's going to be a lot harder to pull off, like you said, because you're going to have like a couple turns to do something and then your hand's gone, right? But I do think SS3 Goku has a lot of ways to build that hand back up. It has like Vegeta's Surprise Attack, as Princess Speed Vegeta. It could run that. It can run the Scientist Fu, cards like that to be able to build its hand back up. And so I think it's going to be definitely very unique. What do you guys think?
I think it's garbage. I don't know. I have no opinion on it actually, because I have not had a chance to look at it.
I think it's pretty solid. I think it's might be the best Apes deck.
Cool.
After the nerf.
Awesome.
Personally, if I was going to go with anything SS3, I would either be doing like the red with the SS4 engine going in there, or actually I did play Trey's mono green Brawly deck. I played around with that a little bit. That deck's actually pretty sharp.
Cool.
So
nice.
I like that.
That's my favorite way to play SS3 is Hopeful Future.
That deck, I actually took it to my locals, Pat, and I loved it. It was so much fun to play. I did hit Piccolo off of my life 3 times, which just cracks me up. I don't know how it's possible.
Feels
but
bad, man.
It does feel a little bad, but it's not very common, right?
People are sleeping on that pressure assault Goku because like once
absolutely.
the goes down, people are just gonna be like, "What do you mean Indomitable comes down on turn 4?"
Yep.
Yep. No, absolutely. And every time I played it, every time I EX evolved, like my opponent was like, "Did you discard a card?" I was like, "Nope, don't have to, nerd." Like I just like it's insane. It's card fills
For this, it's a common.
That's the blows my mind.
Barrier, double strike, untaps at end of turn. Sure.
Yeah, common.
It's just like, are you Vado's leader? Do you have Jiren? No. All right, cool. Prepare to get stomped.
Turning this sideways. No.
So I'm trying to get through these questions as fast as possible. So Kai Baby Boy 17 says at KitchenTableMeta, yeah, drama. Now you have to have a boxing match. Pretty sure if I have a boxing match with Matt, he's going to win. I'm an old man. I can't fight anymore. Once you get past the age of 30, you just lose all the will to fight anymore. You go immediately to defensive state, which is just you running away. I guess I don't know. I can't fight anymore. Next up was Gil Tucker says at KitchenTableMeta, just looking at who the draft leaders are. Who are you guys most excited for? Me,
Hercule.
Hercule. There's one Hercule. There's 2 Hercule. Anybody else?
Waifu, but she's in my least favorite color. So
I know, me too, buddy. Because Khalifa, baby. Yeah. Oh, I love her. She's my girl.
Nah, dude, it's the 9th Goku leader.
9th? What do you mean 9th? That's like 32nd.
How many energy is this one going to untap?
Don't forget, all those leaders will be able to use builds this Friday as they appear on dbsdex.com.
It's just actually just going to reduce the cost of all your cards by 1.
No, dude, I'm just waiting for it. Like
all your battle cards.
All specified too.
I'm just waiting for it, dude.
Hail is free.
It's literally gonna be, you start with 2 energy, and it awakens at 2 life, draws 2 cards, and on the back, whenever you take damage, you mill 5 cards, and then it also has named Zamasu on the back.
I think it's just gonna be just like Mecha Frieza, but it works for battle cards instead of extra cards.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
That's what it does. Absolutely.
Yeah,
that seems good. So anybody else? Danny, what are you excited for, buddy?
No, I don't know. All of them. Just something new. I want to see something new.
Just go. I want to chime in because like the JP Hercule makes me like worried because like I know sometimes they try and do similar effects to the old game that this art came from. If Hercule is anything like his JP counterpart, we will be back on this podcast talking about Ban Hercule.
I'm okay with the Ban Hercule.
Because Hercule's literally like a 5k on both sides, like not a 10k, and his effect is like when he swings, you mill 4 cards, and you can just play any of the milled 4 cards.
Yeah, dude, that's fair.
Oh man.
That's what I will do.
My turn 1, I'm gonna swing at you. Oh, cool! I milled Whis, Judge of the Gods. Let's go.
Well, but you don't get to take an extra turn.
You get
I get a 40k quad strike. You can't do it.
True, you don't. That's why it's balanced. That's good point, Cody.
He is Aetherworks Marvel.
Don't all the because I know people have been linking the images for the JP version of these leaders, and don't they all kind of interact with the energy somehow? Or maybe that's just how the game works. I don't know, but they're all like when you awaken, put the top card of your deck into energy or something like that. Do they all just normally do that, or is that like maybe a common theme? Like maybe they'll interact with energy somehow, like ramp you or something. Is that possible?
Sure.
Yeah.
Also, let's awaken a ramp. I like that idea.
Like, would that be really bad?
Energy.
Yeah.
I mean, right? I mean,
that game is like one-time use. I'm pretty sure.
Sure.
All right. Also, I just want to add with these draft leaders while we're on the subject. I'm just gonna make my bold prediction. It's actually not so bold, but like people keep saying like Khalifa's gonna do stuff with the veggies. No, she's not, because literally these leaders are designed for draft, and I don't think it's good to design a leader that literally interacts with 2 super rares and a promo. So I don't see that being a thing. Like,
but again, they did make Mecha Frieza.
Yeah, but the Mecha Frieza makes sense from a draft environment because you can now literally draft all the useless extra cards that nobody wants and build a pretty sweet deck out of it.
But it's also clear that they didn't actually read before they made these cards either.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree. People keep saying that. I don't agree that Bandai does not play test this game. I think this game is one of the most balanced games.
They asked to see footage of the gameplay at Fresno. Like, they've never seen this shit happen before.
But that's good, though. I would want to, too.
That's bad. That's horrible.
No, listen, I'm going to say this. Every time I play test a game that I design, every time I record footage. It's not because I don't know what my opponents, like what the players could possibly do. I just want footage so I can go over it and discuss it. It's a good thing to do in game design. So you want to record your footage and get ideas of what's happening. I mean, it's just good to have that on record, right? I mean, is that...
From what I gathered from the people that talk, when they're on Fresno, they literally made it sound like they have never actually seen this card in play before. Like, they have actually not seen it.
You don't understand something. Like, there's just cards that, like, people just don't foresee, like, in designing, or, like, there's just instances, like, they don't see. Like, I know I hate to hold this up, but, like, literally Hydra.
Yes!
Nobody...
Cody, do you have a Jason Mind sculpture you can hold up real quick?
Nobody realized.
We need a counter, like, every single time it happens.
Like Bandai, like they didn't think that like people would play it with cards that had mastery, and that's what put the card over the top. And it's like, oh well, we didn't have that in the testing room. Like we didn't think of that.
Sure, but I also think part of that is like if you walked up to me or I walked up to you and I started trying to talk to you in Japanese, I'm sure that you would get some sort of uncertainty from my voice. Because it's not my native language, right? So I think whenever they walk up and they're trying to talk to you, because like when I talked to them at Gen Con, they came up to me and we talked about the hand destruction deck, right? And they seemed kind of like you guys said, uncertain. But like I think it's just the language, right? It's just like that's how they like communicate. I think they were very, very clear of that like there was a Broly chain in the game. I think it's absurd to pretend like that they made Jace not trigger off of Jace, but they didn't know how the Broly chain worked. It just seemed like the game is too well designed for people to think that they didn't see this stuff happening. And I agree.
I'm going to disagree 100% on that because no.
100%.
No, because before Set 3 came out, and Mecha Frieza came out, there was only, 200 and something cards in the game? Sure. That's not a huge library. That's like that's a binder full of cards. That's not very big. So I just don't believe that they 100% did not read that card and be like, this looks like it'd be okay to put with a bunch of really good one-drops in the game.
It's also like they might not see certain lines of play. Like,
sure.
Okay, so yellow in set 1 is all aggressive cards. So like Battering Laser, that was designed most likely for you to play so that they can't negate it. Crusher Ball is designed to tap your blockers because literally every other card in yellow suggests tapping blockers. That's what they designed it for. You were gonna do that. That's probably how they played it in the testing. Cold Bloodlust was probably so that you could negate something that would, stop, I don't know, again, blockers. So like they intended Cold Bloodlust to be played as a thing to help you push through for that last little bit of damage in your sweet aggro deck. They had no idea that it was a control card.
So this is why. So this rounds back to our original discussion before stream, where it's like, you know what, they need to have a.
Well, sure. Your mic cut out, but I think what you said there was
play
testing.
Testing.
I agree, but all the play testing in the world isn't gonna. I mean, I think that we need to give Bandai credit for what they've made, because in my opinion, they've made one of the most balanced card games I've ever played. I'm just gonna be 100% honest with that. I've played Magic. I've played these games. I'm telling you right now, this is like one of the most balanced. Even with Mecha Frieza the way that he was. Like, you still had some variety. You still could play other decks, you know what I mean? Like, it's not as oppressive as freaking... I played whenever Callblade was a thing. You couldn't play anything else. It was just Callblade. That was all you could play. You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't play Band.
That's not true. Brian Kibler played a deck that beat Callblade.
Ooh.
LSV.
Oh, LSV, buddy, my boy. But yeah, I mean, so, like, I think this game is very balanced, and mistakes are going to happen, like Pat said. I mean, Pat has been a designer. Pat, have you ever made an overpowered card before in your life? Absolutely.
Don't you dare hold it up.
Stop.
It happens. It happens. But I think because like a couple cards get through testing, you shouldn't. You know, honestly, you know, Pat can back me up with this as well. The playtesters are not playtesting set 4 right now. They're playtesting set 5. You know, probably set 6 maybe. You know what I mean? So sure, things are going to get through. That's why I thought it was hilarious at Orlando. Bandai, or maybe it was at Vegas. Bandai made the comment. They were like, people are still playing Ginyu. That's weird. And we're like, what are they talking about? Ginyu's the best deck. That's ridiculous. And then Mecca came out. And then, like, all of a sudden, Mecca took over, and it's like, that makes sense now, right? They thought they were ahead, right? They thought of the game in a different way, and I think it's really important to see that. Like, they're going to make mistakes, it happens, but to, like, hold up pitchforks and be like, you know, they don't know how to design a game is ridiculous to me.
Shut your mouth, Dusty. I like my mobs.
I just think that it's an unbelievably well-designed game. I don't know.
Oh, look at this, Dusty.
What happened? Are you going to hold up a magic card?
No, I'm just going to
hold up a baby.
Oh, baby. My wife brought my child down.
Oh, she's adorable.
Yeah, this is her. She's got little chubby cheeks.
You know what would be the biggest troll is if she held up a Naruto card right now. She's like, yeah, there's just all of a troll.
No, this is my newest daughter, Alex.
Aw, she's adorable.
Yeah. She is. She's very alert all the time, so it's good.
That's awesome. So the Spider-Verse says, at KitchenTableMeta, what decks are you all playing in San Jose? And I know some of you might not want to talk about that. That's fine. But what, for those of you not going or for ones that, you know, want to talk about it, for me, if I was playing in San Jose, I would play Mecha Veggies. I think that's the best deck currently in the format. You guys can continue and talk about what you think.
Splinter Twin or anything with this guy?
Cheeky. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Well, at least we've got from Naruto to Magic. At least we're going up the chain of like games.
Down.
It's not even me this time.
Magic, I'd be playing Gift Storm. If I was going out there, I'd probably play either Mecha Monkeys or Mecha Vegetables.
I think Veggies is the best deck right now.
I agree.
I agree. There's the lines of play in it. It's just too good. Like I know everybody says Apes. Apes is basically this meta is Soul Striker, where it's like all of the obviously broken decks. Apes is the one that's consistent. It's not the best deck though.
Yeah,
Vegetables rewards. I think the better player. So
correct, 100%.
Yeah, and that's why actually when I see a lot of people posting like, oh, like people are getting their free wins because they're playing like Mecha Apes or Veggies, and it's like these decks aren't that easy. Like people think they're autopilot, but the skilled player will beat the non-skilled player. Like
people at States didn't even realize that you could kill with Apes on turn 1, and they were just like, wait, you can what? And like because I kept we were playing. Somebody else was playing me with Apes, and they were like unaware at like literally in top cut that I could Shugesh to like play Kid Goku, not to kill, but to literally keep extending my play. And I literally I just kept going and going and going and going.
Then he keeps going and going.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I would play Machine Mutants.
Oh yeah.
No, get out of here.
100%. Dude,
I would say
that choice to not make day 2.
I would say this about Machine Mutants.
If you were gonna go, I think there's only really 2 decks you should play. Like I know Apes is gonna be a thing, but like if you're really serious about trying to win, I would either play Veggies or I would play Red Blue SS3.
I was gonna say that was the other deck I was gonna name. Actually, the real deck I was gonna name was Red Blue SS3 Goku.
Red Blue SS3 Goku with a very defensive shell, like 4 Gohans, 4 Haruharus, 4 Topos, a lot of negates.
I would play Pan. If you know how to manipulate Pan, really, he's a force to record.
Nah, the SS3 Goku basically is rewarded for you being aggressive. So if you're gonna play Veggies and attack me, you're rewarding my game plan. Like, I mean, that's why it's so good.
I hate to keep picking on Matt for being terribly wrong, but Topo in a Pan deck doesn't make any sense. I've saw the Bandai deck lists.
I obviously agree with that here. That tricolor Pan deck was the sex.
That's what I'm thinking.
Dude, not as good as the Cell deck without 17.
Dude, yeah.
Wait, what? There's a Cell deck with a
3-drop Cell. No 3-drop Cell.
No Android 17, dude. That's the spice.
Never mind. I take it back. Bandai doesn't know what's happening.
Hashtag Bandai's Bardock. We were gonna try and make that a thing, me and Eric Malone, because like we were testing like as soon as Set 3 came out, and like somebody I think built GT at Anthony's place, and it was just like, all right, dude, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna play hashtag Bandai's Bardock. But let's go. And like it couldn't beat anything. We literally put it up against like We put it up against like the pre-con like Kid Goku deck, and it couldn't beat it.
It could be just wrecked.
It was when they mentioned that article for Mecha Frieza. When I was reading it, there's just like people are saying that there's problems, that they're dying on turns 3 and 4, and I'm like, you're off by about like 2 turns here.
But go a little bit further. About like turn 1.
So like,
even.
when you think Yajirobe's fast enough and you're wrong, that's. Ugh.
Coopzilla says, at KitchenTableMeta, are there any cards that are going to explode in price after Mecha Errata? To be honest with you guys, I am terrible. I am terrible with price watches and stuff. I don't know. It's 100% up to these guys.
Foil, no opening, Son Goku.
Yeah, foil Shugashis, foil the openings, Kale, Kaba, Caulifla.
I think Jiren's going to be good.
Jiren's going to come back.
I already have my set.
Fearless Pan will go up in value.
Those are the right cards to hold up, Jordan.
Yes.
Selling.
If you do not have your playset of Power Overseeing Time Trunks, now is the time.
Yeah, they're like $7 now.
They're going up.
They're going up. Now is the time. When Mecha goes, Mecha goes, and people start to catch on to how good that card is, that is going to be the new $20 to $30 card.
Yeah,
you want.
And I am sitting on like 6 of them.
Also, I would pick up SR Foos. That card is better as well. It's only $1.42 for that card.
Scientist Foo. Not Scientist Foo.
Foil SS. Yeah, another one. Foil SS3 leader as an uncommon. That card was like high for a little bit, then went back down to 6. That card's going to go back up to $15-20 again, I guarantee.
Foo probably won't go crazy, but like he's $1.50 now.
Yeah.
If the format slows down enough, that card's going to easily be $8 to $10.
I'm debating whether or not I want to do a buyout right now.
I played two of
them and sell. It's really good.
Foo is the strongest card. Foo is the strongest card in the format for relative to his price. Like it's absurd how strong the card is, and it's so cheap.
What do you guys think about Piccolo? Does Piccolo just go up? Because it's like $5 right now.
Card's gonna spike.
Okay.
Yeah.
You think so?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I think the card's only good in like just the Zamasu deck. It's so blue.
No, it's good. It's good in red blue SS3 also.
Yeah.
It's so blue.
It's so.
Doesn't matter.
If you hit them red though, you can't play until turn 5.
Doesn't matter. It's the best.
You mean your turn 4?
Yeah, your turn 4.
Yeah, whatever.
That's the best argument I've ever heard. Whatever. You guys don't know what you're talking about.
Solid body, literally solid body. 2 best keywords in the game. Removal that gets around Cold Bloodlust.
Oh, it looks like Jordan hold up those boos. What do you think about? I was thinking about the 4-drop boo, the blue boo.
Well, that card is ridiculous.
It depends. Like I think
I'm sorry, dude. I can't ever get behind the boo. If your deck, you remember you're saying you don't like to play the 90-10 decks. I don't want to ever play a deck that literally folds to sideboard Mafuba, like ever.
Or King Vegeta surprise attack.
Are you talking?
Annoying.
Can Mafuba get barrier?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you play.
That's why I literally like.
Don't worry, Cody. We'll teach you how to play the game.
Dropped it.
I thought you had to choose.
No, surprise attack is a blowout.
You can ask Aaron from the Facebook admin. Like I was on Buhan like literally like a month before, and like literally I think either King Vegeta surprise attacked or like I realized you could just get Mafuba by like a rando, and I was like, oh, this deck just into the trash.
Yep. Yeah, that's why I'm gonna be a Panhan. I love that deck. It was like my favorite deck. I played it all the time, and then
Dusty, get off the Panhan bandwagon.
I just said I was. I was explaining why I was off the Panhan. I'm doing what you're telling me to do. You're yelling at me for it. All right.
Now I'm gonna yell at you.
Next question says, is the new Super Saiyan 3 Son Goku leader, Little Scarface 3 says, is the new Super Saiyan 3 Son Goku leader in the blue-red Boo deck good?
That's like probably the most optimal build of it, but it's real whiffy.
Yeah.
Because you can't cantrip as hard. That's what like makes it kind of loose. I was playing it in Mecha Frieza, and it's like really good when you make a boss monster. But yeah, Mafuba's kind of rough. It'd be better in like a best of 1 format.
Okay.
Where people don't mainboard those things.
Sambone Trio says, at KitchenTableMeta, do you think they are going to make less leaders each set like Crossworlds, so we don't run into more pointless leaders that get no play? Pointless equals why play this leader when this one does it better. So my thing is, I think that we saw 2 leaders a color this set because they did black leaders, right? So it was only a couple less. But I think they need to make leaders more niche, like the Cooler and like Papa Chilled, like those type of things.
I want to see Bojack.
Right. It's that way it makes sense to play other leaders, right? So if you have a strategy you want to play, or like a niche strategy, you can play it. I think that's the beauty of this game, and something that they're missing in design a little bit.
Give me my Android 21, please.
Well, they try to push limited as well, so that's why you're always going to be seeing like a minimum 2 leaders, or like 2 leaders for each color. Have you guys played a whole bunch of limited, by the way?
I haven't. I want to. Pat so bad. I love limited.
I played it. I played it as a monster.
I have won almost every single draft. I've only come in second in one, and I've won every other one.
I forced one of my opponents into straight yellow, and I got destroyed by it. Because I was playing green-red androids, and my opponent had 2 King Vegetas and 4 Shigesh, and just... Yeah, I can't.
The last draft I played in, I had almost a constructed level Champo deck with a splash of blue, including 4 Yajirobe's main board. I had two 5-drop Vados, 2 like Terrasalt Frost, 2 Divine Aid Vados. Like, I had everything, dude. I had like 2 of all the good cards.
I've had one of those. I had a draft where I had a straight up constructed androids deck, like with only set 3 stuff. It was gross. Like 4 of everything I'd care about.
Yeah. That's why I wish, like, if this game ever gets big enough, I would absolutely 100% love to have like an event where it's like half the event is draft, half the event is constructed, because I really think like draft is such an amazing tool to gauge your skill.
Somebody needs to figure out cube in this goddamn game.
I'm building one right now.
It's probably not like it's got to be so lackluster.
I know,
you have to like change. Well, have you ever seen like Yu-Gi-Oh cubes? You just like everything gets everything. So like you can just like make the cube rule of everything is everything. So like evolve cards can just evolve on like whatever.
Yeah, like for example, like your kind saying Goku can any Goku top 7, not just blue.
Yeah, it can just like evolve into a Brawly.
Oh yeah. Oh, well, let's take it 1 degree further.
What? No, everything is everything. So like Goku would be like everything. Then you could evolve on top of it with any evolve card.
I would love it because somebody posted they want a Janemba leader. I would love it if the Janemba leader was like how it is in like Dokkan Battle, where basically like it reduces damage. So like you just double strike is single strike, triple strike is double strike to you. Like that'd be so sick.
Would you make that once per turn? Or like like essentially?
Probably not. Nah, I don't think it wouldn't be that good, but I think it'd just be really cool, like just to have a leader that's like
perma peel off. That's pretty dope.
All right, how many Goku leaders are going to be printed in Tournament of Power?
Real quick, good guy Dolan. Thank you so much, my friend, for that 3-month resubscribe Twitch Prime sub. You could choose anybody on Twitch. You chose me for that Twitch Prime sub. That means the world to me. Thank you so much, my man. It has been a great 3 months. I will keep it up. Equals D. Thank you so much, man. Love you very much. Also, guys, I'm sorry I haven't been getting to the subscribes and follows as much as I normally do. I just don't want to interrupt my guests because they're just doing an amazing job talking, and I just don't want to take away from that. But thank you so much. I mean, 3 months is a huge deal, so thank you so much for me, good guy Dolan. Also, thank you, Soul Train Twitch, for the Twitch Prime sub as well. I know that was 18 minutes ago, but while we're on it, thank you so much. Thank you, Nukem140 for the follow, and Orlando for the follow as well. You guys are amazing. I'm sorry again, I'm not having very much interaction with the chats. But these guys are just so amazing. It's easy to like get lost and to listen to their sweet voices whisper into my ear.
I'm glad you hold me to such a high standard.
I meant everybody, but Mark. I'm sorry. I thought that was obvious, but I just want to explain that.
We need competitive stacks. We need competitive stacks in this game. Nick Bot just knows what's up.
What is stacks?
Stacks is literally like a bunch of people play in a circle, and you just have one gigantic stack of cards, and you just draw and like basically.
Oh.
You would just you draw your hand of like 6 or whatever, and you would just, charge any card from your hand face down and it's rainbow energy, and you play like a multiplayer game, and that's it. You play it off that.
That's dope.
Captain Logos 13 says, at KitchenTableMeta, what kind of dog food does Loki eat? I don't know. That's weird. April buys it. It's like a grain-free dog food. I think he actually eats better than I do.
You have a dog named Loki?
I do, buddy. He's my boy.
Oh, so it's my buddy Tim. That's awesome.
Oh, dude, he's awesome. He's a border collie. He's my boy. Maybe it's the same dog. Maybe we're just sharing it. Like
he's a corgi pitbull mix. It's the weirdest combination.
That actually sounds crazy.
Cool.
It's actually a super cute dog, yeah.
Twilight Avalon says, when you get older, you don't care anymore and you just want to fight everyone. That's not true for me. Now that I've got older, I'm like more logical about fighting, right? When I was young, I was just like, I want to fight your boy, I don't care. But when I get older, I'm like, he probably has 3 guns or a missile launcher. So
yeah, I don't Dustin's like, I'm going to throw 2 G's down, man. I'll stay in here right now.
So
let's go.
Who here is going to start? Who's going to make the first team constructed event?
I will.
That's already a thing, right?
Is it already a thing?
Yeah, it's happening.
Did you make a team constructed?
No, I mean, they did do a team constructed, but there's the thing in
ARG, right? Hartford?
Yeah, ARG Hartford is a team construction event.
Yeah.
Why have I never heard of these things happening?
Internet.
We're teaching you what the events do. We're teaching you how Mafuba works. Like, I mean,
remember, Dusty. The bet is still on. If I hit 1,000 subs on YouTube, I'll throw a 1K and I'll make that one team constructed.
Oh, that's cool. That'd be really awesome. Mojo Rojo says at KitchenTableMeta, what if Hercule said when this card attacks, combo with one of your opponent's cards, 3 or less on front side, no limit on awaken?
No.
That's, I mean,
so it just steals cards.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan. I don't know.
That'd be pretty hilarious.
It's weird because like I don't like cards that are like that, but at the same time I don't know if I like this for competitive, but like I love to play cards like that. Like Toa is like I adore Toa.
I really like Hercule having like a field spell, like the championship belt, and then making it do something.
I would love it though. I do like the flavor of having Hercule be like 5/5. Like I wish he was 5K on both sides, like he wasn't JP, and he just has some like really like risky kind of gamble effect, but nothing to the extreme notion of let's just play Luigi's Judge of the Gods on turn 1 for free. Like I'm not about that.
Kings Roads, thank you so much for that tier 1 sub, my friend. $5 is a lot of money, and the fact you would spend it on me means the world to me. Thank you so much, and welcome to the KitchenTableMeta family. Any questions, let us know at KitchenTableMeta in the chats. I'll do the best to answer questions as soon as possible. Kings Road, Mini Buddy, we're going to destroy the meta. Hakai, and welcome, guys. Spam those destroys, spam those Hakais in chat. Love you, my man. You're the best. Modro Jojo says at KitchenTableMeta, how do you feel about the chances of a Beerus variant being viable? I think Beerus can be viable in a Veggies meta. I think he actually has a pretty decent matchup, but Blue is still going to be weak to cell chain and stuff going forward. Let these guys talk about it. They know a lot more about it than I do. So you guys.
The variant that I built on your stream is actually not that bad. I was playing against Matt last night. It's fine. Like it's not gonna.
I mean, those games were ending on the 3rd turn because I killed myself.
The point is,
Pat's like the point is, Beerus is the best deck in the format. So here's a Naruto card.
No, here's a Monokuma statue.
See, these words, they all feel like made-up words. I'll be 100% honest with you. Every one of the words you say, you're just like, it's a Mapichichi Cha-Cha statue. Here it is. And it's like, what are you talking? I gotta feel like these words are...
Kamehameha just totally makes sense to everybody.
It does, actually. It's actually Japanese for Cody is wrong. In the new theme Boosters Tournament of Power that comes out in May, there are red Kel, Kaba, and Khalifa cards. So that's probably why there's a red Khalifa card in the draft box. Yeah, actually something to remember about Kaba that I think kind of goes under some people's radar is that Kaba actually says that it can play any Khalifa you get off the top 10. So if they ever print like a 10-drop Khalifa, which I mean obviously I don't think they're going to do that, but you could play that out for free.
Yeah,
Mark's like they're doing it. It's the thing.
No balls. It totally will.
On your previous stream, I talked about filing things away for later. Like that Kaba is filed away for later right now because I foresee it. They're just like, dude, we made this really sick 5-drop Khalifa. When it comes into play, it like kills a guy and draws a card. I'm like, cool, that's a turn 2 play.
Right.
Thanks.
I appreciate
you guys didn't think about that one, did you?
Des Jester says at KitchenTableMeta, based on their counter deck list, they don't test more than 20 minutes. You guys trolling. I think they test at least 40.
I think they test until they win 1 game, and then that's testing's done. You found
80% win rate, dude. 80% win rate.
I will say this is an interesting question for Pat. Pat, listen, I'm gonna ask you a question. Whenever I worked for Cryptozoic, we weren't allowed to give out deck lists. We weren't allowed to do it.
No, we
I forget you worked for Cryptozoic.
Yeah, we just weren't allowed to do it. Like we didn't want to solve quotations, which they're definitely not doing. But we weren't supposed to solve the meta for people, right? We were supposed to let them figure it out. We can give out like tips and stuff, like maybe take a second look at this card.
We weren't allowed to give out lists, but we had ideas, and like sometimes they didn't work out. Like we predicted set 25 meta would be largely win based, and it ended up not being. I believe it was like Fire Lightning. Yeah. So like sometimes we miss the mark, but like we know what cards are strong, but like sometimes we miss some things because either things like the Sasuke where like cards just there's words missing on the card that just weren't there in the final PDF, so the card gets overtuned because it's literally missing something, or you get to a point where hey, like we only have 6 weeks or whatever from inception to goes off to printer, and we took like 3.5 to design the set. So then it's like, crap, we have like 2 weeks to literally test everything versus everything already exists in the pool. And like the team's not that large. Like our team was not that big, so it's impossible for us to test like literally every single variable. So certain things just get by you.
Let me ask you this: do you guys think if they do a playtesting team, do you think those people that are on the playtesting team should be allowed to play in competitive events?
No.
Is everybody saying no? Is anybody saying yes?
No, it's
100% should not.
100% no. 100% no up here. Pat?
No, I was 100% no. Absolutely not.
Really?
No, because it's too like I could literally have known like before the set came out. Okay. Like I could tell, like I could literally go like, hey, you know, give this information or just play the best deck and just win because I already know. Like if for like you know certain formats we might have already a pretty good grasp of what's the best or what's strong, and people are still trying to figure it out. It's like it's a huge unfair advantage.
What do you think, Danny and Jordan? Do you guys think 100% no?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Danny's 100% no. So how about you, Jordan? No. So I'm the only guy that thinks it's okay.
Yeah, no,
you're a crazy person if you think so.
You're a devil's advocate.
To be fair, I am being a little bit devil's advocate today on this stream, but I absolutely think
how would you feel if like literally like you had the fully like end of set 1 tricked out tricolor Ginyu like to the 9s and literally took it to like an opening weekend like event where people barely even know what the cards are or have anything?
Did you have that list? Did you have access to the cards before they came out?
Oh yeah.
I mean, no. Did you have access to Dragon Ball Super cards before they came out?
Me?
Yeah. You got the set at the same time we all did, right? I'm just making sure because I know you used to work for Bandai. Yeah. So you came up with that deck list?
Yeah. So but like the thing is like it took me weeks of practicing to do that.
That's why you just don't have an event the day after the set comes out. You do it weeks after the set comes out, right?
Yeah, I mean we even with the 3-week rule that Bandai used to have for other games, like that's still ridiculous. Like if I went in there with like, you know, like it's like if I went in there with like Eric Malone's Respective Dreams like fully tricked out when people didn't even know that was a deck, like oh my god, I have such a massive advantage because I already know.
Sure. Well, yeah, I'm not saying that there's potential.
The only thing that you can speak on is the fact that our prize support is still just more cards. So,
I guess that's true. So I'm just saying, like, honestly,
the thing that sucks too is that we're not able to cash cards.
So does it really matter if I
guess that's true. I guess that's true in the grand scheme of things. I'm just saying that, like, I would respect, like, obviously, I would have no problem at all, like, signing something that says I can't play in competitive events. I don't think anybody would. I just would hate to see good players like Matt's or Jordan or Danny not be able to play test when I think they could find, like Pat could easily, I think, find, I messaged this on the Facebook page where I think Pat could sit down and find a broken card before it came out. But to take him away from tournaments, I don't know if that's fair because I don't know that Pat would have that much of an advantage. I agree that he would come up with some ridiculous deck, but I also think other people would too.
So you're not thinking about like the other ways. So like, I mean, for example, like if I can play in events and let's say like there's actual, like they increase the pricing, like let's say they put it back how it was like an old Bandai pricing where now first place gets like a $2,000 laptop and an iPod. Like there's monetary incentive. So now I can just like be like, oh cool, I'm gonna make this, like I'm gonna make Fact or Fiction, something like something that's like obviously a very strong card, like, and I know it's really strong, and I'm gonna like basically like they're like, so is everything like fair? Like they asked me, is everything fair and balanced? Like, do I think the set's really good? Is it balanced? And I'll just be like, yeah, knowing well that hey, this archetype's really broken, or this because it has this card that I made. All right,
that's a very good
counter. So now, exactly. So now what's going to end up happening is set's going to come out. I'm going to literally have all the cards while you guys are trying to fight for it. Or like the first week or two, the set comes out, and I'm just going to be like, all right, cool. I'm going to play you with this deck, send around this one card that I know is broken because I designed it.
You also mess up the integrity of the format's experience because now the format is you have
you have control. You have control over over creativity.
Exactly. So now people can't. There's no point in exploring a format that's just solved because the game designer's playing in the competitive scene, and now you have the deck list.
Sure. No, I mean, like I said, I think either way is fine. I just know that Fantasy Flight, for example, allows their playtesters to play in events.
See, here's the other thing: is now do you know that the designer is a designer? Because if you do, like, let's say I know that Matt is a designer for the game.
Sure.
I already am, dude.
I'm just gonna play whatever he's gonna play because like he already knows. He's been playing literally in the meta for like 2 or 3 months.
Machine mutants, dude.
So like,
it's definitely I'll tell you what, Machine Mutant's like John played me. We played Machine Mutant versus Big Getty Pan, and I'll tell you what, the Pan 3 drop with those little Machine Mutants is like no joke. I won't be honest with you, it's a little scary.
That's
like,
gas, dude.
Yeah, it is, buddy. It's a little scary. I mean, you know, it's not Awaken turn 1 with 15 cards in my hand, but it's scary.
I got surprise killed by one of those decks.
It doesn't surprise me, Mark. Right there.
Shut up, Dustin.
All right.
It's super important to keep your designers like away from like competitive players and playing as competitive players, because like even consider like at Wizards, like obviously they can't do it, but like you have Reed Duke and then you have like his brother, and it's like his brother is like a designer if I recall correctly, so it's just like,
well, yeah, you take Magic as an example. If you guys know LSV, right, or even as somebody that people might know a little bit better, Brian Kibler, right, a really famous Hearthstone streamer right now. If he wanted to come in and test your game, like, is it right to be like, we don't want you in our, like, we don't want you testing our game ahead of time and playing in events, right? Like, I think I'd rather have Brian Kibler on my design team than not. But I don't know if that's right. I don't know if that's the right choice or not.
I would take Kibler on my design team, but under the condition that he is not allowed to shuffle cards while he's sitting idly.
Here we go.
Okay.
Mickalith says, at Danny Hype, talk about Pan in Toronto. I don't know what that means.
Oh, just so we had our 1K this past weekend, and there was a group of Pan players that were convinced that it beats Mecca, and they were at an event, and they actually, like, a bunch of them actually topped the event. That I wasn't at that one, but they all topped with it, and so they came to the 1K with it, and they were in for a rude awakening. And they all kind of. Well, I think one of them made top cut, the rest of them didn't, and then I think after that event, they realized how broken Mecca was, and they kind of quit the game. And so
that's messed up, Danny.
That was like, I mean, if your event is literally like, say, 15 people, and your team of like 7 people rolls up, and you're all playing Broly, like, of course, you're gonna think that he's like, because it's literally half the field, even though it doesn't need to be.
Right.
There was like a lot of people that said that Mecha Frieza wasn't going to be a problem like before Set 3 came out, and it was just like everybody was showing, you know, like all the cool stuff you could do. Chain Attack Trunks and the Bob. I was surprised that like they hit Chain Attack Trunks and the Bobbity, but like
what?
Mecha Frieza.
You were surprised?
Well, here, let me finish the statement. So I was surprised that they hit Chain Attack's Bobbity, but they didn't hit like Mecha Frieza being able to go off as hard as it did. It was just like the reasonings are so counterintuitive for why they dealt with one before it came out and didn't deal with the other. It's just like,
I feel like Bobbity is one of those cards when they printed it, they were like, we probably should change this. Like, yeah, I think they right like, just future design. They were like, yeah, this is pretty bad. It's weird with Vegeta. It's really like we can't print any good red cards. Like, it's just kind of weird. Always Legit says, at KitchenTableMeta, thoughts on the last episode of Dragon Ball Super? This is going to be one that we'll probably talk a lot on. I'll say real quick, I thought it was the most beautiful drawn anime I've ever seen, but I hated it. I hated the story.
This man hasn't watched anything by Trigger.
I haven't. No, I haven't. To preface this, I am a anime noob. So there's a lot of stuff I haven't watched. So, but I think it was very beautiful. It was very well drawn, but I hated the story. It's like at the end of the story, they're just like, by the way, the last 3 months of Dragon Ball Super didn't matter. And it's like, go watch the movie in December. Yeah. Like I don't know. I didn't care for that.
I really enjoyed it because
I loved it.
I mean, I just looked at it as, you know, this is Dragon Ball, and the fight was super Dragon Ball, and the ending was amazing with, you know, Frieza and Goku teaming up, which was incredible. And then, of course, the ending fight, Jiren's like comeback was awesome. Like they jammed a lot into that episode, which made it rough, but I figured they did a pretty okay job. And the ending I was satisfied with, because honestly, we all want the show to never go away.
Of course. Yeah.
So, and 17 winning it all was beautiful.
Yeah, I just hate so much that, like, I remember when they first announced the Tournament Power, and they're like, the winning universe gets Dragon Balls. Like, me and my buddy Chris, we just turned to each other and we're like, Goku's gonna win, and he's gonna wish the universe is back. And instead, 17 won and wished the Dragon. You know what I mean? So it was just like, I don't know. I just hate that it was so predictable.
But I like how they put the spin on it at the end.
That was cool.
Like, well,
they missed the mark.
Great Priest like, well, I was just saying,
agree.
Like, Zeno foresaw this coming and is like, yeah, if a selfish wish was made, he would just, you know, zonked everything. So good job for not being selfish.
That's the thing that we were talking about, Dusty, the other night. is that's why I can't get behind Shonen. Like Dragon Ball, I like it because it's been like with me for like 25 years at this point or whatever. But the point is, like, I don't like that genre because like Dragon Ball is enough. Like you literally look at like Bleach, One Piece, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Any of these other series, they all follow the same template. So it's like I'm good with my one predictable action show. Thank you.
Yeah, it is predictable. And I hated at the end that they were just like Goku, like Vegeta's like, Goku, why don't you go Ultra Instinct? And he's like, oh, I forgot how. It's like, what do you mean? Like it's like literally nothing mattered. Like it's just so frustrating. Like, but they did introduce really cool characters like Caulifla and like those characters. So it's cool.
Jiren's still the baddest dude.
Dude, he's cool. Dude,
he's the baddest man's.
I didn't think I would like Jiren, and I actually like
Jiren is the worst backstory on the planet, though.
Yeah, he does.
Bruce Wayne?
Terrible backstory.
Bruce Wayne. Yeah.
Literally, the Tournament of Power, the last episode was Superman and the Joker teaming up to beat Batman, and they just let, like, you know, friggin' Martian Manhunter, Cyborg, but take your pick, get the wish at the end.
There you go.
But I think how they should have done the finale, though, is by one of my friends mentioned it to me, who like watch it, is the last 2 episodes should have just been like an hour long.
They should have done a full one.
Yeah, it should have just been together. It would have been way better.
Been really cool.
And yeah, the ending wouldn't have sucked so much. I hated the cop out answer of just like, oh, somebody made a selfish wish, I was just gonna kill all of you. And I was just like, oh, well,
this man.
There was just so many cool things.
At least though, it opens it up for like a new.
Well, yeah, you get a movie.
I just like all the stuff they could have done. Like someone was talking about like the angels turning evil, like that would have been awesome, or like Frieza winning and making like an evil witch, and like that would have been really cool. Like
that's what I wanted, dude. I wanted Frieza to win and basically be Aku from Samurai Jack and just cast Vegeta and Goku into the future, where he literally rules the universe, and they have to use like some mystical Dragon Ball sword to defeat him. Like I wanted that. That's
buddy. I don't know what that sounds. That's holy crap. That sounds awesome. Dragon Ball Sword in the future. Like it's coming together.
That's what I want.
The Spider-Verse says at KitchenTableMeta, Red Blue SSJ3. What does everyone think of Xeno in it? Danny, I know you've been talking a little bit about
you play it.
You mean the universal reset? Yeah, the universal reset button.
Yeah, you play it.
That deck definitely has the best chance to, at least the version I've seen, or at least the version I'm tinkering with. I think. It's actually I might consider to take it to San Jose. I just need to test it more, but it can beat Mecca.
It's got a good like.
It's won the last like 3 weeks here in Jersey, and like we have some like pretty good players here. Like when we go to like the big like 30-man events and stuff we have here, like that's what's winning right now, is because it's just in such a good spot versus Mecca, and has such a like a middle matchup against so many other decks, but like they can't get past like the onslaught of Veggies and Apes, so it's like.
Sure. Yeah. That's sick. Okay. Ouroboros Forum says, Dusty, are you coming to Miami anytime soon? I am, actually. I'll be there. I'm not sure exactly when, but it will be relatively soon. Hercule says, Hercule steals thunder. That's why at KitchenTableMeta. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I know nothing about Hercule other than he looks like my dad, kind of. At KitchenTableMeta, you think they should update the DBS tutorial app because of the new black cards, or have they completely forgot about the tutorial app? I don't think they forgot about the tutorial app. What I think they'll do, and I'll let other people talk about this, Pat might be able to back me up a little bit on this. Forceville did something similar where they had an online client, but they waited until the new format came out. So they waited until rotation came out, and then everything in the new block they put on the tutorial app, or they put on the new app. I think that might be what they're doing here. So what they'll do is they'll announce block rotation, and then the first block, the first set in the new block, they'll start adding into an online client. That way they don't have to backlog a bunch of cards, and they can so essentially they can be designing the app right now and get ahead in design. That makes sense to me. So, but I do think it's Bandai. They're an electronic company first, and so I think that they will be having some kind of online client if the game continues to do well.
Can we get like 1 million crossover characters? Just like get Errata to start working on this game. The guy who makes Tekken. Give me my Heihachi leader. I want my Geese Howard leader. I want my Noctis from Final Fantasy 15 leader. Make it happen, man. Bandai's got the connections.
Des Jester says at KitchenTableMeta, who all on stream is going to San Jose?
Not I, said the bear.
I'll be there.
Ooh, Matt Combs going to be there.
Yeah.
Danny,
are you with the rest of Team Bearded? I think all of us are going.
I'm coming. I should have bought my tickets. There was one day I saw the tickets and like, ooh, this is really cheap. I'll wait another day, and then it's been going up ever since. And
I got my ticket today, Danny, for $275. I have a 15-hour layover both ways. So I got you.
That was my problem too. All my flights back are like 20-hour flights back.
Yeah, so
I'm wrecked. You're gonna turn to the terminal because of that. I'm just gonna start living in the airport.
Yeah, I'm gonna get lost. I'll be like, it's KitchenTableMeta coming live from the Denver airport. Like they'll be like, sir, you have to leave. I'm like, get away, this is my home.
I live here. I eat out of the concession stand.
The Gallon Man says, at KitchenTableMeta, do you think that because the Mecha Errata doesn't happen until after ARG San Jose, that you won't have a chance of making top cut unless you play Mecha deck?
Yep.
I think you have a chance to make top cut, but you have a better chance if you play Mecha.
It's literally you play Mecha, like one of the two variants we talked about, Apes or Veggies, or you play SS3, or you're just a genius that has figured out something that all of us on this podcast haven't.
Nah, dude, you play Zamafu.
Well, it's Machine Mutants, right? Is that what the?
Nah, dude, Machine Mutants, dude. It's the gas.
Yeah. That's what you do, buddy.
I mean, just because I'm winning with Zamafu does not mean it's like, you know. I wouldn't play it. I'll be honest with you. If I went to San Jose, I wouldn't gamble all that money on that deck. That's like my favorite deck. It's my pet deck. I still wouldn't do it.
Dang.
Wow.
Gil Tucker says, at KitchenTableMeta, at least with how it ended, Zamasu was revived. Is that true?
No.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
No.
It's
a different This is the different universe. Like
Yeah,
different.
it's an alternate timeline.
It's an alternate timeline universe that got deleted. So I don't know if that one got
Dude, I love Back to the Future.
Me too. I was thinking the same thing. If there's one thing I've learned from this podcast, that Matt Combs is my boy. I feel like he's my boy.
Yeah.
His handle on Octagon is McFly, dude. Of course
Dude.
Is it really? I didn't know that.
McFly.
I did not know that.
Of course he wants to be Marty, dude. Give me the Marty McFly leader. Yes. Make it happen. He's got the hoverboard on the back.
1.21 gigawatts, dude.
Doc
Brown for life.
Sandbone Trio says you guys sleeping on chilled. Makes sense. I'm on board. All right, guys, it is way past 12:30. I feel so sorry for Jordan. I'm going to go ahead and we'll start getting out of here, guys. I could sit here and talk to these guys all day. And in fact, I've had such a fantastic time. We definitely need to do this more often. I'm really late. I'm so far behind, guys. I apologize. I'm still posting freaking videos from North Carolina regional. That's how far behind I am.
You are.
I am. I'm so far behind. I have like literally a hard drive full of just videos I have to edit, and I'm so far behind. But I'm gonna start at the top, go through, let everybody say goodbye, talk about their YouTube channels, say the last word, stuff like that, and then we're gonna get out of here, guys. Thank you so much. Before we do this, to all my guests, Cody, Jordan, whatever his name is, Mark something.
Wow.
Then we have Matt Combs, our boy Pat O'Neill, and finally Danny Hype. Honestly, guys, thank you so much for being here. You guys are amazing. I honestly, I'm not joking at all. I really honestly could not be a part of a better community with you guys in it. It just makes it such an enjoyable experience to be here with you guys. You guys run amazing YouTube channels, amazing streams. Mark, you do an amazing job with not only YouTube and streams, but also maintaining the best community website that we have. So thank you so much, Mark, for doing that. You guys are amazing. I love you all so much. Chat, thank you also. I think we had over 150 people here today. Thank you guys so much. They need to errata more cards more often, so I have an excuse to talk to these amazing guys. I'm gonna start with you, Cody. Go ahead and say goodbye. That's all I think I have left to say. Guys, love you very much. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Cody, take it away.
So thanks for listening. I make really long form YouTube content. Basically I just kind of hit record and then ramble until all my thoughts are over. That's other than that, I like live stream on YouTube. That's what I've been doing recently. That's been my content filler. So if you guys want to see random, I don't have any schedule for it. I just kind of start streaming and then just let it all happen.
It's like the diary of a gaming nerd.
Yeah, it's true. I found a question, which everybody should answer this at the end. How many collective years of TCGs have you guys played? I've been playing card games since I was 6. I played Pokemon TCG. So let's see, I'm 20, almost 25 now. So that's what, 19 years?
I've got 23 total years because I started playing when I was 6 as well.
Oh, Cody, what's your YouTube channel name?
It's just Cody Johnson. If you search Cody Johnson DBS, I come up. And if you just search Cody Johnson, then you get my country singer alternative.
Is it Cody Johnson? You look so good in love. That's the name. Yeah. I like it.
That's what I
it's
what
also
I do in my free
Cody
time.
Johnson diamond in my pocket. Got a little diamond in my pocket. Okay, so Cody Johnson DBS, you said?
Just if you just type Cody Johnson DBS, my YouTube channel is just my name. But
is your symbol a
yes,
ski
the
mask?
Counter-Strike headshot.
Okay, yeah, okay. All right, guys, here it is. Go check out Cody Johnson, and after you've done that, listen to a little bit of Cody Johnson. Diamond in my pocket. Here we go. Go check him out, guys. Amazing content creator, amazing guy. It's been so much fun. I mean, I'm so happy that we got you on here, Cody. This is the first time we've had you on here, and it's just been a delight. You've been a delight.
He's been hounding me for
Mark mentions me all the time. Don't worry, Dusty. I have a little bit of beef with you for saying that Buhan was bad. I was pissed.
No, go ahead. What was the beef? Let's talk about it. What happened?
You said Buhan was bad in set 2, and somebody posted a comment on one of my YouTube videos being like, "What do you think about Dusty saying Buhan's bad?"
Well,
and then
it was the worst variant of the Mecha variant.
Hell no, not the way I was playing it.
Yeah, it just auto lost to a lot of stuff.
Okay, so here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say about Buhan. I rarely say any card is bad, and when I do say it's bad, I mean that in like a subjective way, kind of. Like, I think every card is viable and every card is super playable. That's kind of like my principles behind what I talk about. I don't like when people say, like, you can't play that, it's bad. So I mean, obviously, I think Buhan's playable. Do I think it's one of the best, competitive decks? Absolutely not. I think if you take Buhan to an event, you are not at all expected to win that event or even top that event, is what I'll say. But I do think that if you're a good Boo player, I think that you can do well with the deck at a local or even like a state event or something like that. But yeah, I don't think the deck's unplayable. In fact, at North Carolina, we saw one of the PPG guys almost top with a Buhan deck, a Buhan Mecca deck, which was very spicy. One game he killed people on like turn 2, the other game he drew nothing and died instantly. So I think that's kind of the weird thing with Buhan. But yeah, that's my opinion. But no, I mean, what I was trying to say was that Cody, you're trash. I don't know why they said it. I was talking about Buhan. That's so weird. I was definitely directing all my hate towards you.
We try to tell them this every weekend.
Yeah, that's actually my sign-out phrase. It was supposed to be a surprise, but it's like, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget, Cody Johnson, the non-singer, is trash. Diamond in my pocket, and I leave. So that's weird.
Does not have a diamond in his pocket.
Does not. Nope. Yeah. Okay. How about you, Jordan? Talk a little bit about you, my friend. Mr. Chatterbox up there.
Yeah, I do some YouTube. I'm just really tired.
It's my fault, buddy. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine, man. I do some YouTube content. Hopefully, do some more here soon. Big boy on YouTube. Also on the KTM team, I just want to do a shout out to the sponsors: Ultimate Guard, Super Collectibles, and MetaMats. They're awesome. They're just great. But thanks for having me on, Dusty. I appreciate it.
I'm so sorry. I know you're never going to be on again because you're like, I have to get off at 12 and it's like 1:30 almost, and you're just like, I can tell you just like you hate me. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I apologize. But it's been awesome having you on, Jordan. You're obviously a fantastic player. It's always good to hang with you. We don't talk enough. I hate that. It makes me upset. All right, Mark, let's talk a little bit about DBS decks. I think do you have any like announcements to make? Maybe some little things to talk about?
I got a few. I'll make it a lot. So while we were doing this entire podcast, I've actually been entire site. Caching issues fixed 100%. I've tested it thoroughly, and no matter what, every time a new update's pushed, you'll get it right away. No ands about it. I took away a lot of stuff. New events layout, new deck builder. Deck builder layout stays the same actually, except I brought popovers back, so no more having to click the info button. That fix has been remedied. New charts and graphs, all cool stuff. I have giveaways coming up too. I have my YouTube subscriber giveaway for hitting 250 subs. I promised I'd give a secret rare away. I got a hold of 2 copies of SS4 Goku, so sometime within the next couple weeks, you'll see a YouTube video on my channel. So go subscribe to my channel. That will tell you when the Twitch stream to have that giveaway is going to happen. The second update that I have is there's another giveaway happening where I'm actually doing subscriber day for my Twitch channel. So if you're not a sub on my Twitch channel, it sucks to suck. But I'm doing a subscriber day where it's just we play test, hang out, do a little bit of BS. It's a sub-only chat and sub away for another copy of SS4 Goku. 2 chances to get that. Shout out to my sponsors, PPG. That's all I got.
Nice. I actually laughed whenever Gallon Man says my favorite part of watching Mark is when he plays that kid, the kid that sounds like he's 8 on stream and talks crap to him on live stream. Is that Cody?
What?
No.
Cody's like Cody, like the deepest manly voice is like no.
He's talking about
Nate.
Yeah, he's talking about Nate.
Okay.
Nate's no.
Fun fact: Nate's 14.
Nate's 14 actually. Yeah, kid's not hit puberty yet, clearly, but no, Nate's a good kid. No, he's our local youngster. We all kind of we mess around with him, but he's a fun kid. He's good.
Awesome.
He's actually not terrible at PUBG.
Oh, cool. Yeah, you know, obviously,
so
Mark, thank you.
Nate is who you're referring to. Yeah, he comes in. He's like the Guillermo of my show. So.
Oh, cool. Well, Mark, again, thank you for everything you do. I know I say it a lot. You know, we build all of our decks on your site. You're an amazing guy, amazing content creator. Thank you for everything that you do, man. Don't know what we do without you. Next up is I think it's my new spirit animal. I think it's me, Mr. Matt Coombs. I think he's, I've had such a fun time talking with him today, and we definitely need to get you on here more often, my friend, because it's been a lot of fun.
You're adorable.
Well, thank you, buddy. You're cute yourself. Diamond in my pocket. So good. Make sure
now. Diamond in my pocket.
Got a little diamond in my pocket for you. But yeah, definitely talk a little bit about yourself, Matt, and also a little bit about your YouTube channel as well. I want to make sure people are going there, subscribing to this beautiful man.
Yeah, so I like to make content from time to time. You can find me on 3XG Productions on YouTube. You can find me on Facebook. I'm all about jumping into random, poorly worded arguments and then inserting my own thoughts into them and trying to get people to change their minds because I like to waste my own time and theirs. In addition, I really enjoy the community and enjoy this game. I'm gearing up for San Jose. I will be there along with Bearded Collectibles, who is my sponsor. We're all looking to make a really big run. I know we had a lot of success at the last event, and so we're looking to carry that into San Jose and hopefully get some really good results there. But that's it.
Awesome. Well, dude, again, thank you so much for being here. Matt, guys, definitely go check him out. I know Cash just put his YouTube link up in channel. Make sure you guys go there, give him a subscribe. It's worth it. He's a fantastic content creator, fantastic guy. I've met him multiple times at events, and every time we've had just a blast. We just can't stop laughing. I remember the first time I met you at Hartford, actually, I just looked over and saw you, and you looked over and saw me, and we just started laughing. And then we didn't say a word to each other. We just walked away. And then we came back later. Yeah, we just knew. I'm like, this guy. He's a little
diamond in my pocket.
little jokester over there, little Marty McFly. So it's been fantastic having you here, my friend. You definitely need to come back because sure. I can definitely foresee some funny events that we'll partake. Next up is my boy Pat O'Neill, part of my clan, part of the Irish clan. Me and him just, you know, we I don't know what Irish people do. I don't drink, which is weird. I actually had a random Irish guy at an airport tell me, I told him I didn't drink. He told me he took my Irish heritage away. I don't know what that means. I think it means I'm hexed or something. But Pat, definitely, my friends, talk a little bit about your chat, your channel, a little bit about your stream as well.
Yeah, so on my channel, I like to go over things that people may have missed. I mean, that was largely the focus at the beginning. And now I just make sweet decks that people aren't thinking about, things like Vados and, you know, obviously cooler like Trey Faircloth let that out of the bag, so that kind of didn't work. And then obviously Zamasu. You can find some of the brews that I'm working on in Shenron's Lair if you just go to the deck listing. You can find me under there and find some of the stuff I'm brewing. I'm going to try and add some more stuff there. Also, you guys saw me on the Deck Doctor previously. I didn't get to everybody. Some people messaged me over the weekend. You guys still have brews you're trying to work on, or you just want to just brew and just talk to me. Talk to me about your decks. Feel free to just shoot me a message on YouTube. I'm always willing to, try and find like some kind of way to help you improve your game. So yeah, so that's basically what my channel is all about. So yeah, like again, just hit me up with your suggestions or anything you want to talk about. Would be happy to. You can also message me and we can talk about why Infinite Embrace was a mistake.
Oh my god!
Oh god!
I was so proud of him too. I was like, oh my god, there's no Naruto cards.
We just yeah, I like to meme. So that's why Toa is my favorite card in the set. I like to meme a lot. So yeah, if that's you, then drop me a DM.
Definitely. Well, we obviously enjoyed having Pat on our Deck Doctor last week. It was amazing. Everyone really enjoyed hanging out with Pat. It was fantastic. Also, guys, remember Pat's channel is now in the chats. Mr. Kosh is the best mod on all of Twitch, by the way. I forgot to tell you guys that. You can Google it. You can search it right now. His name will come up. Go check out Pat's channel, guys. Give him a subscribe. And also check out his Twitch page. Just a fantastic guy. Last, but definitely not least, Mr. Chatterbox himself, Danny Hype. The only criticism I can give you, Danny, is next time if you could just shut up and stop talking so much. That would be fantastic.
I'm a listener. I enjoy listening to people talk.
Definitely. So, Danny, tell us a little bit about yourself. Also, talk about your tournaments as well. And they've been running a lot of the Danny Hyperbolic Time Chamber tournaments, which has been amazing. Why don't you talk a little bit about that stuff?
Yeah. So my next YouTube thing will probably be of San Jose. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to be vlogging my stay at the KTM house and stuff like that, and the event obviously. So that'll be fun. And then every month, I try to do it once a month. I hold a Octagon tournament for everybody, and Dusty's usually there to cast with me. And I'm trying to do this whole big 7 event throughout the summer to lead to like one final event where somebody wins an ultimately big prize, whatever it may be. So yes, stay tuned for that. But other than that, I'll end this one quick. See you guys. Thanks, Dusty, for hosting all of us.
It's always a pleasure. You guys are amazing. You guys have definitely made me want to do this more often, having all you guys in here. I was actually, wasn't sure. I was like, man, there's so many people, what's going to happen? Because usually we have like 1 or 2 people, but this has actually been absolutely amazing. That's all because of you guys. Chat, thank you guys so much for being here. We love you all so much. I'm going to let my guests say goodbye, do the final, bye, get out of here, and then we're going to end the stream. Guys, you guys can catch me back tomorrow, same time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on Twitch, guys. Don't forget to check these guys out. Also, the last thing I want to let you guys know, if you took anything away from the stream, never buy a Naruto card. All right, guys. Love you. Yeah. Let these guys say goodbye.
See you.
Okay, bye.